City Council. As you were just noted by the city clerk, if you wish to speak, please complete one of the blue cards that are located on the table outside the main entrance and also on the podium rail over here. Please give the card to the city clerk. If you just hand it to her, that'll be great. When we call upon you to speak, we request that you limit your comments no more than 3 minutes and avoid repetition. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, are we in compliance with the open meeting law?
We are in compliance.
Thank you very much. Our invocation tonight will be Bishop George White of the Kingdom Center Church, and we've asked Violetta Martin to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise.
Mayor and Council, let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We're grateful for the strength that you gathered us together, and we're grateful. We take nothing for granted for our life, health, and strength. Lord God, there's many things that we're facing and we're going through, but we're still grateful. We continue to pray for our city and other cities in this country. We continue to lift up our president, Lord God, with the vast decisions that they have to make, and Capitol Hill also. We pray for our city, our citizens. Lord God, as the holidays are coming upon us, we pray blessings to each and every one. There's some people asking for a lot of things, but Father, we're just grateful for the small things, and we don't operate out of a spirit of greed, but Father, we will be thankful and content for the things that we have. We continue to pray these blessings in Jesus' name. Amen and amen.
I pledge to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Bishop. Nice seeing you here again. Thank you so much for blessing us tonight. Ms. Martin, also thank you so much too. Appreciate that. This is the first of two portions of the meeting devoted to the public. This portion of the meeting is matters that are limited to the agenda for action. If you needed to come up at this time, this would be your time. But Madam Clerk, do we have any blue cards? Oh, they're right here. This is second. This is second. Oh, first public forum. Ms. Samuelson, please come forward. I see you want to speak 2 times?
My name is Mona Lisa Samuelson. I'm a medical marijuana patient. I wanted to ask about where we stand because I saw that issue, the agenda item number 2, 3, 4, and 5, I believe, had to do with relief. And I think you obeyed it at the November 5th meeting. And so I was wondering where we're at with that, because I know that how county decided to do it yesterday was, I think what they're going to do is look over who their choices are now that they have the information back from state, and then they're going to decide who they want to pass through and put it on their next agenda, and then pass it through with, I think, minimal public discussion. But I wondered how we were going to do it, how you guys were going to do it. And so I thought,
I'll answer that question.
okay,
We're going to wait and find out and see what they have on their mind. I've been in Washington the last 2 days, and I haven't had a chance to get with them on that issue.
okay.
So we'll just sit back and take the ride together, okay?
I also wanted,
Mayor, I mean, we can give her a brief, because I mean,
If
you've got,
you'd like to, I don't have that answer.
items 2 and 4 had some issues with some surveying,
okay,
and they do not make the distance requirements.
Okay.
So they have actually submitted a letter here to withdraw items 2 and 4. 3 and 5 are their new application
Okay.
at a different location where they meet the distance requirement, so that will be considered as a new item this evening.
okay. And also, since I got that answer, I wanted to take a moment, because I don't know if you realize this, but when it came down to county and it came to the city, they had rushed through and they didn't want to hear what the patients had to say, it seemed like, because they rushed through it. And when you guys stopped all your processing and had us meet with Gregory, Blackburn, you guys stopped all your processing and you stopped to hear what we had to say. And that made a big difference, because not only did you do what you had to do, but you built stronger community because of it. And I want to point that out, that you didn't just do what you had to do. You were interested in doing it right. And because of that, your community comes here and we support you fully. We want to thank you. And thank you so much for making this information readily available on your website, because I was just there this evening checking out your agenda once again, and everything is laid out beautifully. So thank you. Thank you so much from your community. I just wanted to say that.
No, thank you. And Madam Pro Tem, thank you for making that briefing. I couldn't make today and being prepared for that answer. That was great. Seeing no one else, we will close the portion of the public meeting there devoted to the public. We have some presentations that and a proclamation we're going to do right now. So, Council, if we'll go down front. Oh, pardon me. Whoa. Mr. Bouchard, I've got your card here. It got. Okay, I just recognized I put my hand on it. Okay. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Forrest Lewis. I'm the director with the North Las Vegas Library District. Tonight we're giving away some special presentation awards. We had last spring I had the opportunity to talk to the North Las Vegas Rotary Club, talk about the library and talk about some of the problems we're having, some of the things we would like to do to help the community. And they were graciously enough to come back and said that they would like to partner with us and do a program. So we were looking for programs, what we could do to best help the community. And what we realized is most of the programs that we have in the library are geared towards the younger children. And we didn't have a lot of necessarily teen programs that we have. So we really wanted to put together a teen program that could help the teens. It's very important to keep the teens involved in education, coming into the library, after school programs, because most of the kids get in trouble between 3 to 6 after school if they don't have structured programs to get involved with. So what we thought we would do was we had the Teen Read Week come up. It's a national program through the American Library Association, and each year they have a theme. And this year's theme was Turn Your Dreams into Reality. So what we thought would be a great idea is to have an essay contest for middle school through high school students, and they would use that essay contest to write about how they plan to use education to turn their dreams into reality, because we all know that not too many of us are going to be basketball stars or play in the NFL, but with an education, you can really turn your dreams into reality and take control. So tonight I have Mark Dameron, the president of the North Las Vegas Rotary Club, and he's going to talk a little bit and give the presentations that we have tonight.
All right. Thank you, Forrest. As introduced, I'm Mark Dameron, the president of the Rotary Club of North Las Vegas, the only club that is dedicated to this area. I'd like to thank Mayor Lee, the City Council, and everyone in the City of North Las Vegas for this opportunity. And for a short commercial break, for those of you who are not familiar with Rotary, I would just like to say that what Rotarians want to do is make a difference and change lives, both locally and internationally. Internationally, one of Rotary's major projects is eradicating polio worldwide. With our efforts, the incidence of polio has dropped from 350,000 cases a year in the 1980s to just 400 cases last year. India is now polio-free, and there are only 3 countries left with reported polio: Nigeria, Afghanistan, and Pakistan. So you can tell those are going to be tough countries to get into. Over 2.5 billion children have been immunized against polio. On the local level, which is what I am more concerned about, for over 50 years, the Rotary Club of North Las Vegas has been supporting the North Las Vegas community. We are active in awarding teacher mini-grants, the Claire Haycock Happy Feet program, the recent Halloween trunk or treat program sponsored by the North Las Vegas Police Department, AOS of Nevada sponsoring a high school interact club. We also honor the North Las Vegas Police and Fire Department in our annual Rotary Service Officers Awards, and many other notable efforts, and now our work with the City of North Las Vegas Library. If any of you are interested in Rotary, come talk to me. Okay. The Teen Read Week Turn Dreams into Reality essay contest was great. We appreciated working with Forrest and the thought and effort every contestant put into their essays. We hope to continue this again next year. Okay. We were impressed by all of the entries we saw. Unfortunately, we could not give an award to every contestant. Okay. So tonight we have with us the first and second place winners in the 7th, 8th, 9, 10, and 11, 12 grade levels. When I call your name, please come up and accept your award, your certificate, your check. Yay. Okay. First place in each group gets a check for $250, and second place gets a check for $100. So we're very happy to do that. And very importantly, we also have a pin. This is the theme for Rotary International this year, which is Light Up Rotary, which comes from the old Confucius saying, it's better to light a candle in the darkness than to sit and curse the dark. Light one candle than to sit and curse the darkness. So that's what we're trying to do. So when I call your name, please come up. And then afterwards, we're going to collect everybody where? For a picture? Up in the corner up there or outside? Okay. We can go right outside. Yeah, go right outside when we're done for a group picture. Okay. In grade 7-8, first place for an essay on his dream of becoming a computer engineer, Florencio Perez. All right. Second place for her essay on her dream to become a veterinarian, Ingrid Enriquez. Hey. I have not met any of these young people. All the essays were read in the blind, so we didn't know who wrote them or anything like that. So it worked out quite well. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
What schools do they go to?
Okay.
Excuse me.
For grade 9 through 10, first place for her essay on her dream to become a psychologist, Naomi Castillo. And second place for her essay on her dream to become a writer, Anna Rodriguez. For grade 11 through 12, first place for her dream to attend college and become successful, Cami Murata. The check is made out to Cami, so we have 100 witnesses here to make sure she will get that. All right. Thank you so much. And second place for her essay on her dream to become a wildlife biologist, Saruni Elrington. All right, now you are not done because we're going to make you work this for just a little bit. I'm going to hand you the microphone. Would you please just say what school you are from? Yeah.
Nevada State High School.
Hey.
I'm not Cami, but I'm her mom, and she's from Legacy High School.
I'm from Canyon Springs High School.
I'm from Jim Bridger.
Hey.
I'm from Monaco Middle School.
I'm from Odyssey Charter High School.
All right. One of the rules was you had to be either in a school that was in the city of North Las Vegas or be a resident of the city. Okay. So, on behalf of the Rotary Club of North Las Vegas and the Library District, I want to congratulate all the winners and all the contestants. So, head up there and take some pictures. Thank you all very much.
Is that all our presentations?
I am happy to stand before you this evening. First, I'd just like to say thank you also to the Rotary Club, because over my educational career and supervising many, many teachers who have received many grants from the Rotary Club. So thank you for all you do to support education in Clark County, and especially in North Las Vegas. So with that said, I'm happy to present a proclamation to the family caregivers. So if received by AARP Nevada, if anyone, Barry Gold, Director of Government Relations. Hillary Gray, Director of Communications. Is Wayne Leroy here? And Shirley Waugh? Yes. Okay. All right. I'm going to just go ahead and read the proclamation to you as they are holding it. And it reads, whereas family caregivers play an increasingly important role in the well-being of loved ones, providing unpaid assistance with both healthcare tasks and activities of daily living. And whereas more than a third of Nevadans over the age of 50 currently provide unpaid assistance equivalent to 348 million hours and an estimated value of $4 billion each year. And whereas the proportion of Nevada's population that is over 60 is growing more rapidly than other components, and the U.S. Census Bureau estimates, hold on, we have two hands, that about 24% of Nevadans will be over the age 60 by 2030. And whereas older adults who receive cost-effective services at home are more likely to continue to live independently in communities without needing nursing home care or utilizing public assistance. And whereas to successfully address the surging population of older adults and others with significant needs for long-term services and supports, we must develop methods to encourage and support Nevada's family caregivers while developing ways to recruit and retain a qualified, responsive in-home care workforce. Now, therefore, we, the City Council of North Las Vegas, do by proclaim November 2014 as Family Caregivers Month in North Las Vegas, and urge our citizens to join us in supporting and applauding the dedicated work of family caregivers, as well as recognize caregiving of older, vulnerable, or disabled Nevadans as a vital and needed profession today and in the future. So, in witness thereof, we have set our hand and caused the seal of the City of North Las Vegas to be affixed on this 15th day, today's the 19th, I'm sorry. But I'll just read what here, on the 15th day of October 2014. Thank you very, very much.
Get it?
Okay, is Ruben De Silva here? Would you come forward? He's here to receive a proclamation on behalf of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity. You have some friends with you? Come on up, just stand right on down there. Ruben, why don't you come over here and your friends can stand on that end. There you go. I'm going to read this to us. Okay. Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity, Inc. was founded on the campus of Howard University in Washington, D.C. on January 9th, 2014, and one of the nation's largest historically African-American fraternities. Phi Beta Sigma exists to engage the world, uplift communities, and cultivate a culture of service for humanity by striving to uphold three basic principles: brotherhood, scholarship, and service. And whereas over the past 100 years, Sigma men such as Elaine Leroy Locke and the first African-American Rhodes Scholar, John Lewis, was a civil rights leader and current congressman from Georgia, George Washington Carver was a scientist. Emmitt Smith, NFL Super Bowl champion, and Bill Clinton, past President of the United States, have displayed these principles and impacted history in significant ways. Now, therefore, we, the City Council of North Las Vegas, do hereby proclaim 2014 as Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Inc. Centennial Anniversary in North Las Vegas and urge all the citizens to join us in congratulating Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Inc. on reaching their centennial and wishing them the best of luck as they look forward to the next 100 years.
Right here, 1, 2, and 3. One more, 1, 2, 3.
Gentlemen, congratulations.
All right, thank you.
Madam City Clerk, item number 1.
Thank you, Mayor. Approval of regular City Council meeting agenda of November 19, 2014 for possible action.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have the following changes to tonight's agenda. Items number 2 and 4, staff has requested this to be withdrawn. Applicant for item number 12 on the consent also sent a request to withdraw without prejudice. The recommendation is for approval as amended.
Thank you very much. Who's up here to, I might be getting lost on this right here. Okay, so is there any comments or questions on the approval of tonight's agenda as amended? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve as amended.
Please cast your votes. Thank you very much.
I'm going to move on to items 3 and 5. I will read them together as they are associated. UN-110-14, Relief Cultivation LLC. An application submitted by Relief Cultivation LLC on behalf of Smith, Dennis, and Elaine Living Trust, property owner for a special use permit in an M-2 General Industrial District to allow a cultivation facility for medical marijuana on property located at 4620 Eaker Street. Associated item numbers 2, UN 51-14, number 4, UN 50-14, UN 5, 111-14, and this is for possible action. Item number 5, UN-111-14, Relief Edibles LLC, an application submitted by Relief Edibles LLC on behalf of Smith, Dennis, and Elaine Living Trust, property owner for a special use permit in an M-2 General Industrial District to allow the production of edible marijuana products or marijuana-infused products on property located at 4620 Eaker Street. Associated items number 4, UN 50-14, number 2, UN 51-14, number 3, UN 110-14, and this is for possible action.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'll open up the public hearing on this item. Do you gentlemen like to speak?
Yes, Mayor. Thank you for hearing us again this evening. My name is Greg Pike. I reside at 4510 Patriot Cannon Street, North Las Vegas. Again, our application is before you tonight because we originally discovered our original application was too close to a school, and we felt it prudent not to proceed with that application. So this new location meets all the requirements. I'd like to thank the mayor and the council for giving us the opportunity to be here tonight, and we're available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Now I'll open up the public hearing for the general public. Do I have anybody wishing to speak on this item?
For the record, my name is Mona Lisa Samuelson. I am a medical marijuana patient who tries to make it out to these things as an unpaid patient advocate. I just want to throw my support behind these guys, let the record reflect that the community likes relief. Thank you very much.
I need to enforce the blue card issue. You know what I mean, in the future? Gary, you did put one in, but I mean, just make sure I get them, okay?
Yeah, I just want to say, hey, I'm in favor of this too, especially the edible stuff, because I don't think anybody should smoke. But I got diabetic neuropathy. I've got diabetes, and I heard this stuff does wonders for diabetes. So, hey, we're going to tax it, and we're going to make money with it, so I'm in favor of it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Anybody else wishing to speak? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Council, any comments or questions on the approval of this item? On item number 3?
Mayor, the place where they're going to, I think, is a very good one, where there's other applicants to create a nice zone on their behalf, and of course, to make sure that Gary gets whatever he needs. I move to approve.
Great, thank you.
We concur.
Please cast your vote. Concerning item number 5, it was read at the same time as item number 3, so you heard both of these at the same time. Is there anybody wishing to speak specifically on item number 5? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council, any comments or questions on the approval of this agenda item? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve on that one too.
Please cast your vote.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Mayor, the next 2 items are associated as well, so I will read them together. AMP 0814, Speedway Commercial, an application submitted by 702 Capital LLC, on behalf of the Cohen 2006 Trust property owner for an amendment to the comprehensive plan land use element to change the current designation of resort commercial to heavy industrial on properties located at the northwest corner of Speedway Boulevard and I-15 Interstate Highway. Associated item number 7, ordinance number 2693 for possible action. Ordinance number 2693, an ordinance related to zoning, amending section 010 of chapter 16 of title 17 of the City of North Las Vegas Municipal Code by reclassifying approximately 35.3 plus minus acres therein from a PUD planned unit development district to an M2 general industrial district ZN 1214 Speedway Commercial for property located at the northwest corner of Interstate 15 and Speedway Boulevard and providing for other matters properly related thereto. Associated item number 6, AMP 0814 for possible action.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Mr. Brown?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Dave Brown, 9910 West Cheyenne, here on behalf of the applicant. We appreciate staff's recommendation for approval, also Planning Commission's recommendation for approval, and also we've got a letter from the National Guard unit recommending approval of the item also, to note that it complies with the JLUS that the city and the National Guard worked on back in 2010. The property is just over 30 acres at the northwest corner of I-15 and Speedway Boulevard. There's 2 different property owners. One is the Cohen Family Trust. The other one is 702 Capital Group. The parcels are here and here. 702 Capital is very interested in moving forward. They have several interested parties for the property. They plan to develop the property either into a truck stop or some sort of C-store with gas pumps and also some highway fast food users. They are not a sit and hold and wait and see what comes. They just purchased the property and closed on it earlier this year, and so they plan to move forward. They've already spent money on engineering, commercial subdivision map, and also they're moving forward with their tentative map. So they are very interested in bringing some business into the city of North Las Vegas. I believe there is a party here interested in access issues, Mr. Bear, and so I have nothing else unless you have questions for me.
Thank you. I might, but the council might ask one smarter. Council, do you have any questions you'd like to ask on this issue? So what's happening here? You're taking resort commercial and moving it to heavy industrial. That's exactly what we need to happen out there. I don't see a lot of homes being built out in that area for a long, long time. If this comes out here, this is a transportation intermodal area, and a lot of heavy industrial is going to be going on out there. Is it going to conform to what the North Las Vegas view is of Apex, 215, I-15, and all that area?
Yeah, of course, especially the Cohen piece that's behind here, the larger 30 acres. They are talking to industrial users currently, and then the corner piece would be more of a supportive to that back 30 acres, also with some industrial, so it'll meet all the criteria that North Las Vegas is looking to improve in that area.
Great. And so you're telling me that this is going to be built subject to this approval tonight? We can expect something to be having out there?
Correct. They're moving forward.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. Council, do you have any other questions on top of that? Seeing none, I'll open this up to public hearing. We have a Mr. John D. Bayer, if he's in the audience, yes.
Hi, John D. Bayer, Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm here to speak on this. The property that I have is the property that's part of the 116 acres that's owned by the Miller and I. We were going to build in 1997. You remember we were going to build those arenas, the casino, and all that. Then the financing dried up and we couldn't get going. Then we had another offer coming through, and when we went to try and get those through, we found out that we didn't have access to the 215. So we hired Ashley Hall, Ashley Hall, in December of 2013. And he then was able to coordinate between the county, between the state, between the National Guard, between the Defense Department, and everybody, a little bit about what we were going to do. We had to make some compromises. And so our biggest concern all the time has been right-of-way. Years ago, at one time, we all dedicated 50 feet of our property frontage because the Speedway wanted to build Centennial. They wanted to build it from that interchange all the way to the 215 to help alleviate some of the traffic. And so that's why we all gave up the dedication. Well, again, when they got to the end to go where the 215 was, they couldn't get access at that particular time. But now we're able to get access. We have recently met with a hedge fund. Matter of fact, they left again on Tuesday. They loved the project. They remember it was going to go through, and they may have an interest in coming through and going again. It's all conversation until you count the money. But they just left again on Tuesday. And so I knew I was coming here. Now, my attitude is I'm not negative at all against what these gentlemen are going to do. They invested their money. They're looking to do something with C1. I just wanted them to be aware of the fact that if this thing becomes a reality here within the next 3 or 4 weeks, that we prove that they're there, they want to spend the money, and they have the money, and we go, because we have Resort Quarter, we have the things in place, if we go to build that arena for soccer and all the other stuff that they want to do with a hotel and some other things there, that right now they might say, well, hey, wait a minute, we want to do this with our property. And that was my main concern, because we all want to see this thing go. And I know with I don't have to tell you that the traffic is unbelievable because of what goes on at that Speedway. And now with what you're going to do at Apex, it's going to increase the traffic again because all the development workers going to work and things like that. My biggest concern is access. And everybody has to realize that they're going to have to pay for their proportionate share of what it's going to take in front of their property to make that. It's a 100-foot street, and it's going to have to be designed that way to handle that major traffic. It's going to go from the 215 over. That's our goal. And so as long as they understand the cost is going to be involved in that, that has to be worked out. And so that's why I'm here. I'm here because I'm excited. I've owned this property a long time, and we're all excited that maybe this time we have somebody interested that's financially capable. So that's where we're at. So that's the reason I'm here.
Yeah, wait right there. Mr. Brown, we want to make sure on the record that you understood what this good man has said about what he's trying to do and what might be coming your way.
Yeah, we definitely understand. My client would be very excited if this project went forward that Mr. Bear is speaking of. And just, yeah, our tentative map application actually is required to dedicate the Speedway Boulevard on our half street and build Speedway Boulevard on our half street. So we definitely know there's cost involved.
Thank you. Well, he's duly noted to you. Thank you. Do I have anybody else wishing to speak? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Council, any comments or questions on the approval of this item? If not, I'll take a motion.
I'm looking forward to this project, and of course, Mr. Bayer as well. I move for approval.
Please cast your vote. Thank you very much. I'd like to
Thank
take
you.
a mayor's moment for a second. I don't know if you guys realize who just spoke to you. That was John Bear, the basketball coach before Jerry Cartanian came to town, built a winning basketball program for many, many years here. I was actually a graduate of the John Bear basketball camp. And so he does not remember me, but we had to dribble around all these chairs and do all these things, but a fantastic Southern Nevadan has just spoken to you, and you would not recognize the great example and leadership it was to build UNLV to the position that when he retired, we had another coach come in and took us to the next level. So that man is very renowned in this community, and I want to thank you for being here, Mr. Bear. Madam Clerk?
Mayor, we've
Oh, I have to do both items, don't I?
Yes, please.
So, in item number 7, I'll open up for public hearing. I think we've heard everything. I'll close public hearing. Council, any comments or questions on approval of this item? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move for approval.
Please cast your vote.
Next item is item number 8.
Good luck, Mr. Brown, Mr. Bear. Good luck.
UN 3814, Dollar Loan Center Centennial, an application submitted by David Gallion for Dollar Loan Center on behalf of CW Capital Asset Management, LLC, property owner for a special use permit in a C1 neighborhood commercial district to allow an auto title loan establishment on property located at 2805 West Centennial Parkway, Suite 115, for possible action.
Morning, afternoon.
Evening.
Evening. I started at 2:30 this morning from Washington, so I'm tired. Okay.
Dave Gallion, 8860 West Sunset Road. Here to answer any questions you may have in regards to the item in front of you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gallion. I'll open the public hearing. Do I have anybody wishing to speak? Seeing none, I'll close public hearing. Sir, you're going to have to start filling out the blue cards.
I don't have a card for the dollar loan thing. I have a card for.
Okay, well, fill out a card on the next one you want to speak on, okay? Seeing there, no. Gary, please come up right now and speak, okay? We're going to play by the rules of the North Las Vegas City Council, okay? I just don't want you grunting and raising your hand and thinking that I have to stop everything because you're not turning in the blue cards.
I turned in a blue card.
For this item? No.
Yeah, well, I thought I did. Then I apologize for all my shortcomings. I feel the same way about these dollar loan centers as Dottie's. They run the whole neighborhood down. They just make your neighborhood look like a poor side of town. What they do may not be illegal, but it's wrong. They exploit the working class. They take advantage of our military. They take advantage of young people that don't understand how bad this loan is. They don't pay their employees a living wage. They don't provide any health care. We need some better businesses. We don't need businesses like this. That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much. Duly noted. Anybody else wishing to speak on this item?
Just me.
Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Ms. Pro Tem?
Now we've seen a lot of you lately. Is
Yeah.
this the last one now?
This is the last one.
That's promised? For at least a little while.
Oh, yes. Until,
All right.
Yes.
Then, Mayor, I will move to approve UN 3814 for staff's recommendation.
There are no other questions? That's the motion. Please cast your vote.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
We are entering the consent agenda portion. Matters listed on the consent agenda are considered routine and may be approved by a single motion. However, any consent item may be moved to the business portion of the agenda for discussion at the request of any council member.
Mayor and the council, consent agenda consists of items number 9 through 11. The recommendation is for approval.
Thank you very much. Council, any comments or questions on the approval of the consent agenda?
Move to approve consent.
Please cast your vote. Madam City Clerk?
First item under business, presentation, discussion, and/or direction regarding recommendations for the graffiti abatement program and the proposed recommendation to modify Title 8 of the North Las Vegas Municipal Code to add graffiti as a nuisance for possible action.
Mr. Blackburn. And Ms.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Donner.
Mary Ellen and I are here to give you an update on the graffiti program. As you recall, a few months back, Tom Martins and Steve Rayberger spoke in front of you and told you where we're at with the graffiti program, the challenges we've had with meeting the needs of the community, and looking at alternate ways to address graffiti. Since then, Steve, Tom, Mary Ellen, and myself have been meeting with resident group, business groups, staff throughout the city, other business organizations to see how we could come up with best practices and bring recommendations to you, and that's what we are going to do here tonight. I will be brief through it. As you recall, we established this and we wanted to look at 5 different components of it. One is participation, to see who all has a stake in this and who could come to the table to help resolve the issue. The law component, both on the offenders and also on property. Abatements, how can we get rid of the graffiti, be it by spraying over, painting over, or anti-graffiti removal products. And also address the community, look for community outreach opportunities and ways to engage in and resolve this issue as opposed to it just being a City of North Las Vegas issue. And lastly is education. I'll be brief through this part. Again, is participation. We met with several groups throughout the community. We envision, again, the several departments in the city, the public works as far as looking at traffic items that could be, we could set standards for anti-graffiti products, working with VIPS, volunteer service police, working with the police department, and we have established a software tracking program, which is the same program that code enforcement uses. That way we can track the number of cases, the volume of tags to help police department be more effective in prosecution for when they catch someone and prosecute. Again, engage the community partners, and we've created a graffiti removal partnership with NV Energy. We've now got them committed where they will remove the graffiti on any of their components. All we have to do is tell them, and within 1 week it'll be gone. So we used to paint it over and do it ourselves. So if we can pass on, they'll maintain it. And lastly, in this section is looking to look downtown redevelopment area to look for funding, and also establishing some standards, some standard colors that may be easier to go over and paint, so that way colors match that in areas that have repeat graffiti on them. The next part we're looking at is our laws. We have multiple sections of the laws where we are proposing putting in front of you. One is to expand the current ordinance to put more rules in place to educate, tell the store owners to have signs up for graffiti that this product, cannot be sold to minors. This product, cannot be, is not intended for graffiti. So that's one component. We also want to expand the reward program. We have the $250 reward program that's been in place for years. We'd like to expand that. Some of the comments that came out of these community meetings is, as we track the data and find more severe offenders, if we could have more of a reward program for higher offenders, those that lead to prosecution to this tag right here, further expanded on our website. So we would want to put money there and to encourage the community to participate. So we can track the damages to the community through the software program, which will help make us more efficient. Again, that falls into expanding the penalty options. And again, we met with the courts and would propose meeting with courts following your direction on options to increase penalties. We can modify the Title 8, again, to prohibit the possession of graffiti implements within 50 feet of public property. So that way, if someone's on the sidewalk by a park and they have something in their hands, then that can be addressed. Modified Title 8.40 to require graffiti as a nuisance. Our current code, we're the only entity in the valley that does not identify graffiti as a nuisance. As you're aware, you can see many buildings driving up I-15 that have graffiti on them. Currently, our ordinances don't allow us to go and contact the property owners. And most of those are vacant buildings. So the banks have possession of them. They're not maintaining them. We can go in with nuisance codes currently and have them remove the trash, weeds, and litter, but we can't tell them to remove the graffiti. One of the proposals we'd like your direction on is to modify our code to declare graffiti as a nuisance, so we could take action on it that way. Again, modify, more signage in stores and require graffiti-resistant coatings on new public projects and equipment. So when we install traffic signal cabinets, so the product on that, the graffiti would wipe right off with them. In our parks, Mary Ellen, they are doing sample tests on existing parks, on park benches, and it's just amazing, the products where they treat it with a coating, and somebody comes along and tags it, you can wipe it off with soap and water. So it makes the cleanup easier, and it's not just painting over with paint. So if we establish standards so that when we build a new park and when we do this, these are the standards. Everything that goes in it, every light pole, everything is treated with graffiti removal products. So it's way to planning for our future to reduce our costs on maintaining graffiti. Again with abatement, I'd mentioned the weeds and litter. We can go out and abate properties today. That means if the bank on vacant properties won't clean up the litter, we can go out and maintain it ourselves. We'll hire a contractor to do it, and then we'll lien the properties for that money. What we're proposing to do is the same thing on graffiti. If we're there, especially if we're there removing trash and litter, that we can have the graffiti removed and then get cost recovery from the banks on the foreclosed property and vacant property. We're also, because of the added parks and trails in our community, it has put a significant burden on staff, and trying to keep up with the graffiti is challenging. With the recently added 18 miles of trails, bridges, and then flood channels in our community, we're proposing to increase staff levels. The next item is we're proposing creating a graffiti trust fund and propose a minimum of 50 cents per water meter per month. Again, we're going through this as a proposal to you. We've done an extensive analysis on what our outputs of our time are, our staff time, our equipment, purchasing more efficient equipment and tools so that we can remove graffiti faster and safer for our employees. So that's what we feel is the appropriate measure to go to. And also implement an online graffiti reporting system. With that Comcate software program that we have, for a little under $2,000, we can implement so that somebody can take a picture with a smartphone and send and have an app, and it will send it automatically to us, and we will get a GPS coordinate of that complaint. They won't have to type anything out, fill it out. They won't have to go on our normal website and fill anything out. Staff won't have to answer the phone call to get a verbal explanation of where it was at. So something that could actually transpire in seconds will save us an hour of staff time. So we're looking at spending a little bit of money to make us more efficient and offer more services to our residents. We're also looking at adopting an Adopt a Spot program, working with our businesses, working with schools, working with community leaders, Boy Scouts. Just like you see Adopt a Highway, create an Adopt a Spot program in our community. So if we have areas that are highly prone to graffiti, is that we get with a community organization and say, now this is your responsibility, take ownership of it. So we're looking to help further opportunities for our community. And with that, I will turn it over to Mary Ellen.
Good evening. So part 4 of the place was community, and of course we're not in this by ourselves, so it's a community problem. We're looking at reestablishing the graffiti task force, and that graffiti task force would include city staff, community leaders, civic group leaders. At one point it was a valley-wide task force, so we would perhaps be looking at reinstituting because other cities have solutions that perhaps might apply here as well. We're looking for increased business participation. We'd like to establish standard colors for geographic areas based on the majority of the buildings that may be in that area, and develop graffiti abatement agreements with businesses and property owners so that we're all on the same page. And of course, the 5th component is education. We used to have an education program that used to go out to businesses and schools and homeowners associations, and we're looking to reinstitute that. abatement is one part of the three-part stool, but education has to be part of the solution. We'd like to create a marketing plan to heighten graffiti awareness, and that would include the reward program. Also, we'd like to educate developers and property owners on graffiti-resistant coatings. You know, we're doing a trial with a coating at one of our parks, and we'd like to make those results available and like to try different products so that perhaps we could be the sounding board and then offer those alternative removal options to businesses and homeowners. So our recommendations, and again, we are looking for your direction. These are merely our recommendations. We're looking to perhaps increase the community improvement fee by 50 cents a month. That would make for $6 a year total. That would be an increase on a water bill. And what that would get us is the first year, because of course it's going to phase in, it's going to be incremental as it's collected over the months. So the first year that would get us 2 additional staff and outfit 2 additional trucks. And year 2, we'd get another 2 staff and another 2 trucks. We've looked at and have implemented a decreased entry level for a graffiti removal person. It's now at a grade 10, level 10. So that will help with reducing staffing costs. We would have purchased additional materials and supplies, and it would also help with our educational supplies, our reward program, as well as our removal supplies and materials. Again, we would reinstate and fund the graffiti award program, and then fund the educational expansion efforts, which we think is a major component. So with that, we will entertain your questions.
I do have some questions, but would the police please come forward for a minute? I'd like for a fuller presentation. Captain Roberts, nice to see you this evening. There's been some discussion here about a rewards program and kind of different things. Can you explain how you see this working? You're in the field every single day also. I wanted to get a full idea of what's going on here.
We've had this for a long time, like was expressed earlier. Much the way we solve a lot of our crime, our secret witness, people can call in with information that our police officers or our detectives can follow up on. We can set up this process so that it's anonymous if the information leads to a successful prosecution. People aren't just paid just because they call and said, I saw Bobby over here spraying on the wall. We put contingents in there that, if it leads to a successful prosecution, and there are ways that they can be paid anonymously.
Follow up on this presentation a little further. Is this going to be a benefit to what you're doing? Are we just transferring some responsibility? Are you guys still?
No, absolutely. We're in favor of this. We think that if it is pushed out, and we're in favor of how this is laid out, the presentation, that it can be beneficial to not only the police department and the prosecution of people who are doing this, but cleaning up the blight that is caused by these people that are doing this.
Thank you. Well, ask the council if you'd stay up here. Council, this is for discussion and direction, of course. Councilman Wagner?
Yeah, I mean, I like the overall proposal, but I do have a few concerns here. First off, graffiti-resistant coatings that you're talking about. Is this, like you're talking about light poles? I mean, so if the city installs a light fixture or something, and we're going to paint it with something that is resistant or can wipe off, clean up easily?
Yes, there are products out on the market that are able to do that. We're currently testing a product, like I mentioned, and it is removed by soap and water. The one we're happen to be testing doesn't work well with vinegar. Mm-hmm. So there are
what's the cost? I mean, what I'm looking at, because later on we talk about having developers and people that build things and do things to have resistant coatings. Is it equivalent to maybe normal paint, or is it 10 times the cost? Are we going to be passing burdens on to small business owners and things like that? Do we have any idea? I mean, if you don't have it, you can get with me later. That's fine.
We have some proposals, and they sell it by the gallon that talk about a square footage cover ratio. It's more similar to paint per square foot. Most of the costs are labor putting it on, and the savings is we do it once and it's over with. The true savings is the labor on the back end. But as far as going, it can be sprayed on. Signs can be dipped in it, so it can be part of the manufacturing process. Traffic currently uses a 3M film that goes on. The spray coating would be less expensive than what we're currently using on some of our signs. But the benefit of the spray, it can go on existing equipment. We could go out and service all of our parks right now.
Okay. Now, the part that I've got a problem with, a big problem with this, is the cost here that we want to tax our residents for this. Just last week, I had a resident in my community call me and said, "Hey, we just got tagged over here off of Centennial and Snow Cactus, you know, and what can we do about it? Is this the city? Whose responsibility is this?" I called Dr. Liu. She checked into it. The city was going to go out and do something about it, but the HOA said, "No, we're going to take care of it, and we want to take care of it." Most of my ward people are in HOAs. The HOAs, they pay dues to the HOAs to clean up their graffiti and to keep the grounds looking nice. So it's kind of almost like a double tax on people in Ward 4 if most of the graffiti is going to be in downtown in the redevelopment area. They're paying already to have their graffiti abated through their HOAs, and now they got to go pay again. Now, I know it's not much, but when you got the federal government dipping in your pocket 100 times a year for different 50 cents here and 10 cents there, and we got our local governments, our counties dipping in, you know, all these things start to add up. And so I know $6 a year, but doggone it, you know, we were opposed to doing stuff like that for our park. No one wanted to charge the residents to use our skate park and to help clean up graffiti there. They want everybody to have it for free. And now we want to charge them to come in and clean up graffiti out. You know, I see a double standard here where, you know, that we're trying to do. So I'm opposed to us charging anything. What I am for, and I've been involved in 3 or 4 of these with, I mean, up to from 30 to 250 kids out going up and down washes and painting, you know, a mile a wash. If you hire one graffiti guy, he works for 8 hours. If you have 300 kids from a church or a school or an organization, they can do as much as that guy can do in a year, in one day. So I see much more benefit trying to get the community involved, and with this adopt a spot, you know, things like that, the city doesn't take on the cost of hiring a new employee, and we can have people, you know, volunteer to do these things. I've been involved in Eagle Scout projects and things like that, where we've done a lot when it comes to that. And I also, when it comes back to the law, we had this discussion a couple of years ago with the prior council. These, you know, these kids that are caught doing this, I think they really, I know we hear from the judges, we can't do anything. We don't want to put them in jail. Yeah, we don't want to put them in jail, but doggone, they got 2 hands. They can clean up the stinking mess they made. So why don't we work with this judicial system somehow to get these judges to sentence these kids to labor, to come out and fix these things? You know, I don't understand. I've heard explanations over the years, but I do not understand why these judges say we can't do that. We can't do that. There's no way we can. I do not understand what we're doing there. So that's really where I'm at. I like everything else. I like the idea to make it, you know, a nuisance and all these ordinance changes. I'm opposed to the 50 cents. I'm going to have to say that. I'd like to see something different, but I'd like to see, you know, us continue to work with scouting organizations and schools and churches and get these big groups, because they're always looking for service, stuff to do. And that's what I'd like to kind of see happen. Thank you.
Council? Madam Pro Tem?
Well, I really want to say I think you guys have done a great job, and I like the fact that you are approaching this from so many different directions. Because you're right, I don't think there's any one simple solution to this. I too support modifying Title 840, both to prohibit the possession of the graffiti implements within the 50 feet of public property and to declare the graffiti a nuisance. And I think if we can find one of these coatings that really works and does what it says it's going to, I think that's tremendous. I think that will be great to be able to do that and put that on our parks, on the benches, and on maybe even some of the playground equipment, as long as it's not toxic, you know, and it's, you know, can be done to make cleanup easier. I mean, that would be just amazing. I too am concerned, although for a very, very different reason, from Councilman Wagner about the 50-cent increase. And previously, I really was all for it. And then Thursday afternoon, I had John Ensminger from the Southern Nevada Water Authority come into my office and meet with me. And if council remembers, about a year ago, they came in with a pretty big ask for a water rate increase that we were pretty much obligated to put forth. And now I find that that took care of the third intake, and now they need a pump station for the third intake. And that is going to be the tune of $650 million that they are going to be coming in very shortly and asking for additional rate increases to the water rates. And that'll be up to about $5, I understand, a month per household. So when you add that, when you add the, I believe, 3% that we have annually that gets added from North Las Vegas, then you add the 50 cents for the graffiti, I'm just afraid of what that can mean for particularly some of our low-income residents. So I would like to, if I can, from, I don't know, Randy, if we can get some kind of analysis that'll give us an idea, if you can get together with SNWA to find out what they're looking at that amount is, what our amount's going to be, plus the 50, so that we can actually see what the full impact is going to be. I would like to see that come before us and get that information before we make a final determination on the 50 cents, so we know what the impact's going to be water rate wise for our residents. But I definitely support the rest, and I'm not actually opposed to the 50 cents. It's just coming at a really bad time, right when everything else is going to be hitting, it looks like, too. So if we could do that, Randy, I'd appreciate it, and maybe that'll help us make the right decision for you guys.
Councilwoman Goins.
And I guess I first, second, and third my colleagues' comments as well. I am totally in support of the programs that are mentioned in here. And personally, my sorority is involved in an Adopt a Spot program, and like once or twice a month they have a designated area that they do go and clean up, and it's working very, very well. And what that does is help the community to take pride in their area because someone's out there helping them clean it up, because sometimes it's a more senior area and you have seniors living there, so it is really, really helping. And my concern too is the cost. You say it's just $6 a year. To $6 a year to some people is a lot. And then if you tack on other like rate increases from other utilities or anything else, that $6 turns into a lot for some households.
Councilman Brown.
Well, I do agree with my colleagues on on several of the counts. Of course, the ordinance that we need to pass to make the landowners are responsible for their for their properties, and of course, I know that you guys have done an excellent job. I think we're a little bit remiss in maybe doing some out of the box things like my pilot program here to have some artistic work done on some of our power boxes that are owned by the city, and there are some of our businesses who would like to have these murals put on their properties to mitigate some of the. It's a proven thing that does mitigate graffiti. On the other hand, I'm going to say right now that I would like you guys to go and hit that 50 cents and hit it hard. There's a big reason. I understand that some people, some of our residents in other parts of the city are not going to, they're going to say, well, why should I pay for it? It doesn't affect me. They're totally wrong. What affects people who live in Aliante, okay, affects people who live down here in the downtown core. When people think of North Las Vegas, they don't immediately think of Aliante and our beautiful ducks that walk across streets and create nuisance. They don't think of that. They think of the downtown area. That, I think, has been a bit of an anchor. The image of the downtown area has been an anchor to the progress, I mean a negative anchor to the progress of our city as a whole. Matter of fact, I'll say it's going to sound like making an attack. I think it's a couple of decades of neglect from prior city councils that have put the area in the looking the way it is. While we had a great boom and great growth that was happening in the north, what happened here in the south? Were people putting all that effort here in the south? Well, as someone who lived here in the downtown core, I don't think so. Not for one bit. And I'll say that, and I could be wrong, but I went to the graffiti town halls. The grand majority of the people were certainly for paying a little bit more to make sure that their downtown area looks a little bit nicer. Mr. Blackburn, can you please tell the audience here when the last time was that there was any sort of an increase in the graffiti fee?
Mayor and council, there has not been an increase. That was the original fee that's been in place.
Since?
Pardon?
Well, I've been here since '93, and I think I've been paying it from the beginning.
It's you know,
at least '93.
Yeah. Ever since I had my first home in the early '90s, I've been paying that, and there's been no increase. The cost of paint's gone up, the cost of labor's gone up, but there's been no increase to make sure that this program will continue. Matter of fact, the reason why we, with all due respect to community groups that come out and they work hard, and I know because I have a community group, the Hispanic Student Union. We've gone out and done graffiti removals. It's fine, but you need to have a professional, dedicated crew that's available 100% of the time that we have here, not relying on a volunteer service to go out and do things that other people cannot do. Do we really want to send children into these drainage washes? I would not want to send them down there. Not with I mean, our city gets sued quite a bit. Our city gets sued quite a bit. The last thing I'd want to do is be sending children into potentially hazardous conditions. Number one. Are we going to send them to go ahead and to patrol all these 18 miles of additional trails that we have? I mean, what we're asking, or what we've been asking our staff to do, is to do really the impossible, to abate 10 times as much as they had just 10 years ago, with even less people. I think it behooves us to have the political courage that it takes to tell people we're doing this. I am a person who I love my city. It hurts for me to drive down the city, down the streets, and see this graffiti abatement, and I'm willing to do what it takes to make sure that a downtown area that has been so neglected, I feel, and for so long, to have this program be in place. And I'm willing to have the guts to stand up to anybody to tell me that I'm wrong, because I know that in my heart I'm right. We always want to say, well, let's wait till later, wait till later, wait till later. We've been waiting for 2 decades down here. How much longer do we have to wait? Do we really have to wait on all these other political entities? I do not want to wait on other political entities. Every time we do, we are left waiting and wanting. I urge my colleagues here at the City Council to besides these other ordinances, to pass the 50% increase, 50-cent increase, not 50%, 50-cent increase. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilman Wagner?
Just for the record, I disagree with Councilman Barone respectfully. It does not take political courage to raise people's taxes. I've seen it done way too many times on the national and local levels. It doesn't take courage to raise taxes, so I kind of take a little bit of offense that it takes some kind of courage that I'm afraid to raise taxes. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with everybody wants a piece of all of our residents. And it's a nickel at a time, it's a dime at a time, it's $6 at a time. And if every little pet project that somebody has charges our residents $6 to $10 to $20 to $30 more a year, it adds up to hundreds. Right now, everybody's getting hit with health insurance premiums going up 70 to 80% this next year. Everybody I know, So there's so many things. So I do not. I just wanted for the record to know it does not take political courage to raise taxes. It's finding other solutions to live within the means that we have, rather than just every time we need something, raise the taxes.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? Ms. Goins?
I was just trying to find the page. You said you would increase the pay grade. Is it a 10 or what did you say?
Decrease.
I'm sorry, decrease. What would that amount to dollar figures as far as salary is concerned?
So it was at a level 12, and then we took it to a level 10, including all benefits, about $50,000 a year per staff person.
One other thing that I forgot to mention.
Councilman Barone?
Yes, Mr. Blackburn, can you tell us how many people we used to have on the graffiti crew just, say, 5 years ago?
Mayor and council, we had 12 people.
And now?
We currently have one, but are also recruiting for one more, three more.
Three total today.
This is
Three
not a pet
positions.
project.
Yeah.
This is not a pet project. This is a quality of life project, most definitely.
Thank you. Any other questions? I think I would like to follow up on a concern that Councilman Wagner had on the courts. I do believe, Councilman, that you met with some judges. Can you give us a response of what they mentioned about these young offenders?
Our city attorney was there. First things first, no matter what ordinance we pass to address juvenile offenders, the juvenile court is not obligated to follow anything that we do. They have a very clear mandate. It comes from state law, and again, no matter what we do to pass laws to affect juvenile offenders, it has no bearing on juvenile law. Ms. Counselor?
Yes, Mayor and Council. Councilman Barone and I met with Judge Voy, who's been very vocal in ensuring and encouraging juveniles to actually get back on the right track and rehabilitate them. And of course, that was his focus. Just so you know, when we cite someone for violating our municipal code, the police actually have to catch that person in the act. And if that happens, then of course, my office, if it's a misdemeanor, will prosecute them in our municipal court. A lot of times, they're not catching them in the act. It's someone tipping them off, like Captain Roberts mentioned. So they are in the jurisdiction of the juvenile court. And he was really focusing on, like, well, let's look at the root of the problem. Why are these juveniles doing this, and what can we do, to try to get them to stop? So it wasn't a for lack of a better term that was brought up, cut off their thumbs and you can't arrest your way out of it. They wanted to look at more rehabilitative ways of thinking. I still think there's certain court programs, or if there's a community service function that we could have to put on the rotation. I know our municipal court has certain court programs and different relationships with other nonprofits that they can recommend that our offenders go to. I think it's part of building a better relationship, probably with our county judges as well and the juvenile judges, to say, put a graffiti abatement project on your potential programs to be able to sentence these juveniles to. But there wasn't a quick fix, or it wasn't as though, yes, we can definitely find and redirect certain funds to North Las Vegas. That's not something that the Clark County Juvenile Division Court would do.
Could we?
Councilman Wagner?
So Councilman Brown was saying it's a state issue, kind of, state laws so can we lobby our state representatives to make these changes then to the state laws on child?
Right.
On
it's ultimately,
juvenile?
though, up to the judges to determine the level of the sentence. That's still going to be it's well within their discretion. It's well within any judge's discretion to determine the level of the fine and any sentence and any community service that's being done.
Thank you very much. Director Adair, would you make your way up here for me, please? We actually have somebody in the audience that we'll be introducing later this evening during our council brief. But we have a new economic business director, Ms. Gina Gavin is here. Her job is to get and drive businesses to this area. And part of the responsibility is, even if it's at an apex, we still have them coming into the core. You know what I mean? And so they're going to see the North Las Vegas that the councilman is discussing here. I don't like raising fees, but we've made it a priority for our city to be graffiti free the best that we can, Mr. Adair. My question to you is, seeing that the council wants to move forward but is concerned about maybe an expense at the moment, some of them are, could we take the late water fees? Could we do something in-house that isn't generally in your budget process, that still produces income that might be able to assuage these concerns that the council has? And if you don't have the answer now, I wouldn't expect it, but I would like you to maybe try to see what you can do to solve this problem. We do recognize we have a problem. we also recognize we have a lot of expenses on our residents and an image to build, not protect, but to build a new image. Nice time, Mr. Adair.
Thank you, Mayor. So the answer to, I think, perhaps to your question, this is probably fairly high level, and that is, as it stands right now, we know that the city, its current expenditures exceed its revenues, and it's projected that that will be the case for a number of years, and that is the focus of the senior team, staff, and in fact all the employees of the city on every level, trying to figure out how we can save a few dollars, figure out how to still accomplish the services that our citizens are looking for, and put the city back onto in the black. That's a very difficult challenge. To ask the question of whether we have some funds that could be redirected towards this, the answer, of course, is yes. It's a matter of priority. We don't have excess funds. We don't have a bank, a rainy day fund. It's presently raining for the city. So it's my recommendation that we continue to have those discussions. We were in meetings probably several months ago. We talked about a lot of different opportunities that we could do with respect to this, and trying to work with the team and community resources and the judicial system. I think this is something that's of great concern to us. There's been a lot of energy spent on it. I don't think there's an easy answer. This is one proposal, but we're looking everywhere, Mayor, to find anything.
You know, the good residents of this community will never know how well we're doing until their libraries are open full time, their pools are open, and the graffiti's cleaned up. They don't ask for much, you know what I mean? But the optics, are so very important. I think from my point of view, listening to my colleagues here, that the discussion and the direction we would like to send is, we all agree with this program, Mr. Adair. We'd like you to see if you could work within the norms that you work within, and see if we might be able to accomplish this goal without raising fees at this moment. But we will bring this back to the city council. How long do you think you would need to study this?
Mayor and council, whenever you choose to have this back in front of you, we will be prepared with a number of options for you to consider on how we can fund this internally.
Great. I think our next meeting is December 3rd. We'll put that on the agenda. Are you okay with that, staff?
Actually, Mayor, if I could chime in, looks like there's consensus among the council members on the code amendment side, even on the outreach and enforcement, except on the fee increase. The unfortunate fact is that if we do not have the fee increase, we actually do not have the resource. Even if we change the code, we would not have the resource to do the outreach, do the enforcement, and all that. So the program will not be complete as proposed, because it's an important piece. As you'll see, we approach this problem from multiple facets, just so we can cover all the bases and also minimize the impact to residents. If I could recommend you to direct me, work with staff to come up with a plan that's going to be acceptable to all council members, then we can bring 2 items forward when those consensus are reached. We will have 2 items come forward. One is the code changes, another one will be ordinance for fee increase.
So, Madam,
that would be my recommendation.
So, Madam City Manager, we of course would expect that leadership from you, but when would you like to come back to the council with your presentation?
I would recommend 30 days.
That's fine. That's fine with the council, and we appreciate your leadership.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you all working so hard on this issue. Item number 14, Madam Clerk. Oh, wait. I do have, pardon me, let me open item 13 again. This really wasn't open for discussion from the community, but I have somebody right now, because Mimi Rigby, would you like to come up? I'll allow you a chance, and Miss Julie Gutterio. Okay.
Hi, my name is Mimi Rigg. I'm a resident of North Las Vegas. Ward is my council person. My concern about the 50-cent increase that you guys are hysterical over, I know when I pay my taxes on my house, I'm paying for schools. that it's been 40 years since I had any kid in school in this town, but I'm still paying for that. So it's my thing to keep the city running on their schools. That's basically what this is too. And I don't know if, when I come down to work, coming to work on Losey, it's just absolutely terrible down Losey, the graffiti on all the trucks and all the stuff that's there. So yeah, it doesn't make us look very good when somebody's looking, like you said, to open businesses, which we're trying to get, and there's so much property on Losey that could be turned into profitable businesses again. So that is the smallest thing I see on that issue, is that 50 cents. And I know fixed income because I was without work for 13 months, but I would have paid it for what it was going for. I know the 25 cents won't help them do nothing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Julie Guterrio, there you go.
Julie Montero, for the record. I have been a resident of North Las Vegas since 2009. I think this graffiti abatement program, I think, is wonderful. Thank you so much for going through with that. However, I have issues with the 50 cents. As a resident in this community, we are taxed a lot. Thank you for pointing that out to many of you. Mr. Wade Wagner, thank you for pointing that out. I believe, Isaac, you have some good points too. But as a resident, I do not want to see any more taxes. I'm not looking forward to the fact that our water's already going to be going up as it is, and I will be probably at those meetings also. So no more taxation with that representation, please. We were taxed enough.
Well, you do have representation.
I do stand corrected. We do have representation. Yes, we do. I do.
No, I understood what you're saying.
But please, no more taxes.
We're going to be working with that. We're listening to the council for direction to the staff on that. Anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing none, I'll close that public hearing. Item 14, please.
I put in my card earlier, but I didn't expect to speak on this issue. But I really do want to say something if I could. All right, thank you so much. Once again, my name is Mona Lisa Samuelson, for the record, and I was surprised to find out that as a resident, she didn't have a problem with the 50 cents. I want you to know that North Las Vegas does need some help with their graffiti, and I know that, yes, people are willing to pay for that because we take a lot of pride in North Las Vegas. But I had a question. The presentation was wonderful, but I had a question. There was something, I think, on the second table, something about the increase in penalties and fees. When you talk about the increase in penalties and fees, were you talking about passing that on to the criminals that are being caught doing the graffiti? Is that something you were, can you check that out for the, I think it was the second page when you were talking about the law.
Expand penalty options.
Yeah, because I'm not in agreement on taking our kids, which are already pretty vulnerable. They are the ones who are tagging and doing these things. I'm not into putting my money to fund a program which turns them into criminals, more, or it, makes their parents pay more fees. That I'm not into. I'm not here to make things worse on a community that's already vulnerable. But I'm here to spend a little money, if that's what it takes, to clean things up. Please take that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madam City Clerk, item 14.
Thank you, Mayor. Augment the police department's budget in an amount not to exceed $549,500 from a 9/11 tax override fund 298 police funds, and authorization to issue a purchase order to Motorola Solutions, Inc., using the competitive bidding exception per NRS 332, Local Government Purchasing Act, for the acquisition, build, and installation of 9 Motorola MCC 7500 emergency services dispatching consoles for the police department for possible action.
Thank you very much, Chief Lytle and Captain Roberts. We'd like to know just a little bit about this very succinctly.
Yes, sir. Mayor Pro Tem, Council, thank you for giving us the opportunity just to explain a little bit what this council item agenda is for. And so, as you read there, it is for replacement of 9 of our radio consoles that are our dispatching consoles. And those are not only for PD, but with the new upgrade would be backup system for fire as well, making that a full emergency service dispatching system. Our current consoles are approximately 10 years old, and they are reaching their end of service life. So the purchase of these consoles would also come from the 911 fund, which is from a tax override fund, which those funds are specifically for the 911 system. Now, the purchase of this is a small cog in the wheel. We are also part of the Southern Nevada Area Communications Council, and in being a part of that council, the entire valley is working on interoperability communications. And with that process, it means taking us from our analog system to a new digital system. And so we are just a piece of what is happening throughout the valley. So we work closely with Motorola to get our pricing down, but we are looking at replacing our consoles throughout the entire valley. So we are just a piece of that to ensure that there's interoperability for fire and police from one end of the valley to the other. And so this process allows us to take that step to move from analog to digital, and in preparation to ensure that there's true interoperability from one end of the valley to the other.
Thank you, Mr. Captain Roberts.
Just to echo what Jeff said, also, this comes at a really opportune moment for us as we prepare to move our communication dispatch center from where it's currently located to a new spot. And if we don't go this route, it'll cost approximately $176,000 to remove the antiquated equipment from where it's at over to the new place. So,
Yeah, I understand that there. Council, any discussion on this item? Any comments or questions? We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Item passes. Item 15, Madam Clerk. Thank you, gentlemen.
Item number 15, presentation, discussion, and/or direction on the Lake Mead Boulevard corridor, Pecos Road to Civic Center Drive pedestrian mobility alternatives analysis for possible action.
Mayor and Council, Mr. Michael Mosley from Community Home Associates will make the presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Michael Mosley. I work for Kimley Horn. I'm a professional engineer and professional transportation and operations engineer. I think the presentation will be, it's coming. We're working for NDOT, specifically the NDOT Safety Division. The NDOT Safety Division has the responsibility of looking for the high crash locations on the state roadways and improving them to reduce crashes and improve safety. Do I get a clicker? Oh, thank you. Thank you. So I'm here to present we've done some alternative analysis, present 3 alternatives for improvement on Lake Mead Boulevard between Civic Center Drive to Pecos Road. The existing corridor, this is a 1-mile segment within the city of North Las Vegas, but it is under the jurisdiction of NDOT. It is SR 147. There are 3 lanes in each direction with a 2-way left turn lane down the middle of the boulevard. The posted speed limit is 35 miles an hour, and there's approximately 33,000 vehicles per day of traffic. This is a safety improvement corridor, as I'd mentioned. From the years of 2008 to 2012, there were 468 crashes. 2 of those were fatal crashes, and 26 were serious injury crashes. Here's a graphic that shows the current configuration of the roadway. You can see the 3 lanes in each direction. There's a 2-way left turn lane down the middle. Sidewalks on each side are 5 foot, and you have residential mostly on one side and commercial on the other. The commercial's on the north side. There's, with that commercial, quite a few driveways, which cause traffic to enter and leave those driveways. Here's a few pictures of the corridor. This is one of those driveways on the commercial side. Here's a sidewalk obstruction. This is some more driveways on the north side. There's a light pole. Some of the issues with the driveways are ADA compliance. The cross slopes as you cross the driveways are in compliant with ADA. Here is a bus stop on the south side. You can see how the corridor is constrained between the bus stop, the sidewalk, and the street. As part of this analysis, we looked at the crashes as was mentioned. These are some crash density maps of those crashes. So we took all the crashes and mapped them geographically along the corridor. The density, the way you read this is with red, it's a higher density of crashes. We notice that the higher density for all crashes is at the major intersections, but notice that there are plenty of crashes throughout the corridor, including at driveways and cross streets. Here's the next graphic specifically citing the fatal and serious injury crashes. On this one, we see there are more injuries, or there's higher density of these fatal and serious injury crashes throughout the corridor, specifically at those driveways and cross streets. There's one more graphic for crash density, and this is pedestrian and bicycle crashes to see where those are located, spread throughout the corridor. With this analysis and with these improvements, we've worked closely with the City of North Las Vegas and NDOT for recommended improvements. The recommended improvements are, first of all, we want to bring the sidewalks into compliance with American with Disabilities Act, ADA, for pedestrian mobility. This includes ramps, driveways, the pathway width, and also some signal push buttons. The project will include pavement preservation, potential improvement on bus turnouts. It also addresses some of the improvements of multimodal improvements, pedestrian and bicycles, that are found along this corridor, as well as vehicular. The improvements address access control by adding a raised median. That is, with all these driveways and cross streets, a raised median helps keep traffic from having those angle crashes. And also additional mid-block crossings within the corridor. There'd be 2 of those between the signals. As a part of the analysis, we looked at the safety benefit. So we're looking at reducing crashes, improving safety. Here are some of the metrics that we used in our analysis. We looked at access control of the raised median. This reduces 40% of crashes. The mid-block crossing for pedestrian signals reduces crashes by 29%, and traffic calming by lane reduction reduces crashes by 5%. There's benefits associated with those, and the cost for each one of those improvements are listed on this slide. Now onto the alternative analysis. The 3 alternatives, I'll just explain briefly what those are. There's a graphic after this that shows a picture of what that looks like. So the first alternative is taking the existing lane configuration, that's 3 lanes in each direction with the 2 left turn lane in the middle, and replacing adding the median and putting the mid-block crossings in. That has the greatest safety benefit for the corridor. Alternative 2 would be to have those same improvements, a raised median, mid-block crossings, but to narrow the lane slightly, giving us the ability to widen the sidewalk on the north side, bringing the curb line in towards the roadway. The third alternative is to have the median and the mid-block crossings, but to reduce a travel lane in each direction. This would allow us to widen the sidewalk in on both sides of the roadway, increasing the distance for pedestrians and bicyclists along the corridor. Some of the criteria in the analysis, we want to make sure all the alternatives are meeting the recommended improvements. Also, we're looking at a 20-year design horizon. We looked at traffic levels in the analysis. We're looking at right-of-way impacts for the adjacent property owners. We also took into account cost and the safety benefits from the crash reductions. Here's a couple of terms that are everybody may not be familiar with. Level of service is a measure of traffic flow. It ranges on a scale of A to F. A through D are acceptable, A being the best. E and F are unacceptable. The other evaluation criteria that everybody might not be familiar with is the safety benefit cost ratio. This measures how much benefit over cost for safety improvements. So crash reductions, there's a benefit to that versus the cost of safety improvements. Ratios over 1 are cost effective. So here's alternative 1 with the results of the analysis. The key points here are the right-of-way impact is higher to meet the ADA criteria of improving the sidewalks because the sidewalk improvement would have to happen outside of the street, potentially on adjacent property owners. We reduced almost 40% of crashes with this alternative. Alternative 2, again, this is having the raised median, mid-block crossing. We're widening the sidewalk on the north side into the roadway. We're able to do that because of reducing the width of lanes. So there's less right-of-way impact. We still have reduction in crashes with the improvements. Alternative 3, I'll point out that we're reducing a travel lane again in each direction. But with that reduction, we're able to widen the sidewalk inward, giving an additional 5 to 6 feet for pedestrian travel along the sidewalks. We're gaining a bike lane in each direction, a bike buffer zone. The right-of-way impact is minimal for the ADA compliance improvements because that compliance happens now within public right-of-way in those wider sidewalks. We have additional reduced crashes because of the traffic calming effect of reducing a lane. There's less weaving, less distance for pedestrians to cross as they move about the corridor. There's a protection for bicyclists in their own lane, that type of thing. So here's a table with a summary of those results. And the recommendation from our team is alternative number 3 because it meets the recommendations for safety and ADA improvement, and it has the greatest safety benefit of the 3 alternatives. It has the least amount of right-of-way impact. It also has the traffic calming effect and the multimodal mobility improvements. So we're helping the bicyclists, the pedestrians in the corridor. We're decreasing the distance that people cross the roadway. Also, with that, we're able to improve signal timing a little bit. This follows the Southern Nevada Strong Initiative. It meets future traffic volumes level of Service C requirements. So the level of Service C is adequate for those 2036 volumes, which is on the 20-year horizon design. It also has the potential for aesthetic and functionality improvement. We can have improved bus bays with wider sidewalks on both sides of the streets. There's potential for aesthetics in the future, maybe even a gateway opportunity for the city of North Las Vegas. With that, I'll take your questions.
Thank you. Ms. Reynolds, would you come up, our traffic director, please? I do have one question before I ask Ms. Reynolds a question. Did Southern Nevada Strong ask for this study? Number 2 is, are we spending RTC or state funding? Because I've never been given a menu before. I can go from 1 to 3, choose the highest one if I want it. You know what I mean? I don't understand the funding. I mean, if we choose 1, it's 3.99. If we choose 3, it's 4.50. Usually, you don't get a menu of how much you want to spend. You know what I mean? And this is being an NDOT or RTC funded road. I just wanted to know about that.
Certainly, Mr. Mayor. This study did not actually come out of the Southern Nevada Strong Initiative. This came out of a project that NDOT calls a road safety audit, where they noticed that this was becoming a high crash location, that there was a high frequency of crashes in this corridor. And so they conducted a walking roadway audit to investigate issues that pedestrians may have along this corridor with mobility or traversing the sidewalks. The funding for this project is NDOT safety funds. And the reason that we're coming before you today is because they want to, the next part of this project is to take it to a 30% design level. And they do have these multiple options that are available. And they wanted input from the council because this would be a fairly dramatic change to the Lake Mead corridor. It would be taking it from 3 lanes in each direction to 2 lanes in each direction. The great thing about it is that they are able to maintain the vehicular capacity on that roadway by doing that. But what they're doing today, they just wanted to hear your comments and show you the different alternatives that they investigated and see if you had any preference in which direction that you'd like to go.
I see. I have a couple questions. I'd like to, but I'll ask council first. Council, any questions? Madam Pro
Yeah,
Tem?
actually.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mayor Pro Tem. Then.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Ladies first.
Okay, help me figure this out. Because originally you were saying there was something like 33,000 cars going through per day, correct?
Yes, that's
So-
current volumes.
So your alternative 3 now is taking out 1 lane in each direction. So how does Lake Mead accommodate the same 33,000 cars with the with the reduction of the lane? How does it still handle that same traffic, I guess is what I'm trying to. I mean, I appreciate you're making traffic movement easier for the bicyclist and easier for the pedestrian, but I'm still trying to figure out how we accommodate that same number of cars now with the lesser lanes. Am I missing
Great question, Mayor Pro Tem Wood. We looked at this. We did a traffic analysis of the corridor. Of course, you're putting more traffic in less lanes, and so the density does go up a little bit. We looked at delays at the intersections, and it is adequate with level of service C. So there is a little bit more delay.
Explain adequate to me.
Well, in the highway capacity manual, they have these grades where it's kind of like a window where a certain amount of delay is acceptable. And so we're not into the lower E and F or D. It's a level service C.
So my traffic time is going to be increased.
A little bit.
Not by maybe a huge amount, but is it going to affect the speed? I mean, do we lower this now, let's say, to 30 miles per hour, or?
Mr. Mayor, council members, if I may expand on what Mr. Mosley said. What we're seeing today is we do have some additional capacity out on the roadway. So adding, not only did we look at 20 years in the horizon, but we also anticipated that there could be some traffic growth on there. So we took a look at that. And what we're seeing right now is we do have a little bit of capacity. And the other really interesting thing about narrowing the roadway is right now, each one of the side streets has to be timed so that a pedestrian can cross that roadway. So when a pedestrian pushes the button, we can give them up to 45 seconds to cross that great big wide roadway. And that takes away from the time on the through street on Lake Mead. And so when they narrow it down, they can actually give more time at the traffic signals to Lake Mead because it's a shorter crossing distance on the side street. And so even though there's the same amount of cars and we are narrowing the roadways, we are able to get more people through our traffic signals because we're kind of balancing out those different traffic modes.
Okay.
Councilman Barone.
Yeah. Nice to see you. Thank you very much. It's a very good presentation. Now, the only problem I see, I see a double, like 2 bottlenecks. You know, it's kind of like the same amount of water going through the hose, and we squeezed. All we did was we squeezed the hose there, and we're not talking about a hose that has that much capacity. Heading Lake Mead, heading out of North Las Vegas into unincorporated Clark County. We'll have our 2 lanes opening up into 3, and then conversely coming back into North Las Vegas from the county, 3 lanes going to 2, and then after we get right past Civic Center, we're going to have the 2 lanes opening up again into 3, and conversely 3 lanes going into 2. I mean, I do understand a lot of the concepts. It's actually good being having a background on the Traffic and Parking Advisory Committee. I understand the concepts of of lane reduction. It seems like it wouldn't make sense, but it does make sense. The only problem that I have is this something that we're going to be forced to continue onto Lake Mead in the North Las Vegas part, westward from Civic Center to Las Vegas Boulevard. And I mean, that's one concern that I have.
Yeah.
Ms. Manager?
Yeah, Councilman Brown, that actually is a great point. Staff actually has made the request for the study to be extended from, right now it's from Civic Center to Pecos. We want to extend it from Civic Center to I-15. Basically, that will work very nicely with the downtown plan that we're trying to promote. When we're trying to create a downtown, we really need to create that sense of place. So with the improvements, not only address safety concerns, it also address the need for us to build the downtown, to have that downtown image. And staff recommendation would be really follow the alternative 3, except we want to extend the project further to I-15. And that will be part of the request from the city if council directs in that direction, and then they will proceed with the design. And the beauty of this is we'll not only address safety, we also will beautify downtown with somebody else's money. So I always like that.
Well, that sounds fantastic. And in that case, would you also recommend that maybe we roll this into one nice big project to save money for the taxpayers down the road?
We do have a project currently on in the plan to design the section of I-15 along the Lake Mead. That's the downtown section we have currently. Obviously, we need to work with NDOT because this project that's currently ongoing, we will be working with them to have a combined project. I'm not sure if it's going to be constructed as one project because the construction dollars obviously will have to be determined at a later date. But with design completed, that just gave us the advantage to compete for construction dollars.
Most definitely. I would like to see this proceed as one big project, put in phases, quite frankly. And like you said, to lock the design down, to lock, a new vision that's been obviously lacking in the past. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem.
Now, I know this presentation is basically by NDOT. So have you reviewed it, Alyssa? And is this recommendation from our staff as well for option C?
Yes, Mr. Mayor and council members, Mayor Pro Tem. I have been involved in this project almost from the very beginning and been involved in all the meetings and reviewing all the output from the consultant, and this would be our recommendation as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Seeing that this is in Councilman Brown's ward, even though that is a major thoroughfare for our community, I don't really see that we have to take action on this item. This is information only. Rudy's just sent you here from NDOT to let us know what's potentially could come our way. Where am I at on this? Do you need council action tonight? Or was this is presentation only to me?
Just accept the presentation.
Just accept this?
Yes.
Okay, but with no direction at this time? Or that's what I want to know.
Once you accept
I can accept the presentation, but it's asking us to look at 3 options. That's my concern.
Actually, if you do not have concerns over the recommendation for alternative 3, by accepting the presentation, they will proceed with the design effort next.
Councilman Wagner?
You just said you called for an extended study. Who's paying? Who's studying? Is it Alyssa studying or
Nevada DOT with the Community Home as the consultant.
Okay, so we're not paying for studies.
No.
The gentleman's doing that. Okay, thank you.
I will say one other thing. One thing that makes my heart very happy, and if I have any of my people here who are part of the new group that I'm trying to get started, the Downtown North Las Vegas Business Owners Association. Originally, they were formed about 10 years ago to fight City Hall because they were forced to give up a piece of land and right away, and so they came forth to fight City Hall. I might add to my colleagues. This is actually a very amenable alternative we're not going to see our downtown businessmen up in arms against us. They're actually going to say, hey, thank you very much for not taking more of our right away. So thank you very much on their behalf. Believe me, if they were here, they would totally agree with me on that.
Thank you. So Alyssa, we pay you to consider the future of our town. And Councilman Wagner just whispered over to me the same thing I'm wondering. You have done everything that you think that item number 3 is the way that North Las Vegas should proceed for this road for the future. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And you are asking us as City Council tonight to accept this presentation and to tell you that we like item number 3. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, sir.
Or what was it? Option 3. Pardon me. Yeah, very. So, Councilman, it's your district.
Yeah, Mayor, again, what we need is a game changer in the downtown area. This is a game changer. You know, this is something that's going to radically alter the look of the downtown area. Not having the speed limit is 35. If you're going 35, you're getting passed by people going 50. Okay, that is an absolute truth. Just this morning, I was watching the news, and just so it happened they picked this. Channel 8 picked this section of all the roads they picked. They picked this exact section to focus on. I think there was a reason for that, and I am definitely a man of higher providence. I think we're being shown the way, and quite frankly, I totally support this.
So I'll take that as a motion. Councilor, do you have any comments or questions you feel we need to report? This is your baby. Okay, we'll accept that as a motion. Please cast your vote for option number 3 as presented by Mr. Mosley and our staff. Congratulations, Alyssa. Item number 16.
Yes, Mayor and Council, I'm going to read item 16 and 17 together as they are related. Settlement agreement of condemnation litigation with W.W. Williams Company in the amount of $320,500, 95% funded by the Federal Highways Funds and 5% funded by the Regional Transportation Commission of Southern Nevada for the partial acquisition of real property, permanent easements, and a temporary construction easement located at 2680 Losey Road, Clark County, Assessor's Parcel Number 13914302005, in connection with the North 5th Street Phase 1D project from I-15 to Cheyenne Avenue, and authorize the execution of the settlement agreement, mutual release and waiver of all claims and all ancillary documents to settle the litigation. Associate item number 17, resolution number 2517, and this is for possible action. Resolution item number 17, resolution 2517, a resolution of the City of North Las Vegas permitting sale of certain real property owned by the City of North Las Vegas to W.W. Williams Company pursuant to NRS 268.061. Associate item number 16, settlement agreement with W.W. Williams Company for possible action.
Thank you very much. Council, any comments or questions on this item?
I have one quick one.
Councilwoman?
Now, when we were talking about this item in briefings, there was one assessor's parcel number that was still in dispute. I take it we...
Yes, and Mayor Pro Tem, since your briefing, we have worked that out.
Okay.
And I would be recommending approval of this item and the accompanying item number 17.
All right. Thank you.
Council, any other comments?
On item 17, where the recommendation, do we just need to change that language from interim to just say city manager? Does that matter?
Yes, on the resolution that's going to be ultimately signed by the mayor, we will make sure that we change that from interim to permanent city manager.
So deserved. Yes.
Thank you very much. So concerning item 16, if there's no more comments or questions on this item, I will take a motion.
Move to approve item 16.
Please cast your vote. Concerning item 17, which has previously been read, Councilor, any comments or questions on this item? If not, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve item 17.
Please cast your vote.
Next item, item number 18, Professional Construction Management Services Agreement with VTN Nevada in an amount not to exceed $1,216,650, $1,094,985 from the Clark County Regional Flood Control District funds, and $121,665 funded by the Regional Transportation Commission of Southern Nevada Fuel Revenue Indexing Funds to provide construction management services for the Simmons Street drainage improvements, Alexander Road to Gowan Outfall Channel Project, CIP project number 10339 for possible action.
Thank you, Council. I have VTN Nevada in the audience. If you have any comments or questions or for them, they're here. If not, I'll take a motion.
Move to approve.
Please cast your vote.
Next item, ordinances, final action. Ordinance number 2689, an ordinance related to political signs, amending ordinance number 2591, section 17.24.160A of the North Las Vegas Municipal Code to require a fee of $125 per candidate, issue, or ballot question for the placement of campaign signs within the North Las Vegas city limits, regardless of the number of signs placed, and providing for other matters properly related thereto. This is for possible action.
Thank you very much. Dr.
If you don't mind, Mayor and Council, I'm going to go up to the podium and join Tom Martins.
Mr. Martin, welcome.
Thank you.
Before we actually get into the presentation, I just wanted to make a short statement to the Mayor and Council. Staff has asked that we look at areas of our municipal code that would move us in the direction to be more regionalized with our other government entities, that being our sister cities. And so the proposed ordinance is looking to move our current fees for political signs to be more in line with other cities within Clark County. It is not meant to be a revenue generator or offset the city's cost of ensuring that the signs are within code, removed and pounded, and at the end of election, permanently removed, and destruction of said signs. Our city is a service provider, and we take pride in that, and we wish to continue in that direction. But at the same time, we need to bring the fees in line with the current day cost. We adopted our ordinance for political signs back in 1996, and in 2003, we adopted an ordinance that created the political sign fee of $25. It has always been that up until today. If we go to the next slide here, I've looked at the past 9 years, and that going from looking at the number of candidates and the revenue that we've brought in. Over the average for those 9 years, we've had 28 candidates on an average, which brings in approximately $700 in revenue. And if you look at this slide, you will see over the years that the number of candidates seem to have decreased. And that's really not the case. We all know that every election we have basically the same number of candidates out there. The difference here is our staff has been reduced over the last several years. And as a result, we don't have the staff to go through the city and identify those candidates that may have posted signs, yet they have not paid their political sign fees. So I think those numbers are rather low, and at this point in time, they should be higher if we had the staff to identify that. If we're comparing the fees, as you know, and I've already stated, the city of North Las Vegas is $25, and it is the lowest and has been the lowest for these last several years. The city of Las Vegas now charges $75, and the city of Henderson $61. Both of their fees have been in effect since 2005. So we've been pretty much behind the fee schedule there. At this point in time, I'm going to turn this section over to Tom Martins, who has provided me invaluable information to cost justify why we're going from $25 to $125. So I'll turn this over to Tom.
Mayor and Council, if I may. When we looked at the expenditures for enforcement of political signs, we kind of had to sit back and look and see what code enforcement in the city does, the whole process. Enforcement, there's different components, and I'll kind of break it down for you. But what we did was we took a 1-year time frame. During this time frame, code enforcement worked 21 cases. What this is, there's 21 cases where we contacted political candidates, their campaign managers, and they refused or did not remove signs from the right-of-way, from city property and or intersections, and we actually had to go out and do that ourselves. With that, we look at what does it cost. Well, by the time you take in an employee, a vehicle, equipment, etc., it's about $130 an hour. So we look at roughly of just enforceable cases that we actually documented and recorded for enforcement actions. We spent about 27 hours last year, and it cost about $3,500 to the taxpayers. Looking at it a little differently, we also have cases where enforcement action is not as severe. We can actually get a lot done by speaking to the candidate and then changing the slide. That helps. Thank you. So when we look at that, we averaged out our yearly complaints that we responded to, and it averages about 5 a month. And these are ones where we actually maybe just have to go do a physical drive-by, call them up, hey, please remove it. A lot of times they do, sometimes they don't, so sometimes we pull it. But we look at that, we have an annual time spent about 60 hours at that, and an annual cost of $7,800. And that's addition to our first listed expense for salary and wages. The other part that we have to look at is our community improvement and beautification team. These are our folks that go out and do a lot of work for the city, but when we look at what they're capable of doing, what they have to do to help get the city back in place and safe and keep the signs off the street, it takes 2 of them 2 full days. All right. 2 full days to remove all the abandoned signs at the end of the election cycle. That's about 36 hours and a cost of about $1,300. And in addition to that, once we do get that done, there's also a second phase of it where they've got to go out and pull all of the rebar, deal with the large metal frames that are abandoned. Some of those have to be towed by an actual tow truck because they're so large, and some of them you just got guys out there cranking and pulling rebar out, rusty rebar out of the desert ground. It's not that easy. So we estimate that at another 18 hours and about $672 in costs. Besides that, we also have to look at what it costs to dump those signs at $220 a pop, and the usage of the trucks, which add up to about $648. So that's pretty much in addition to what city clerk's office spends on salary, labor, with the permitting process. So with that, we will turn this back over to Barbara.
Thank you, Tom, for your information. We appreciate it. So we've got, with all of the numbers that have been thrown at you, there's approximately 141 hours spent by our staff on this on an annual basis. That would bring in approximately, their cost would be approximately $14,096. Our average revenue, as I've explained, is $700 through 2006, 2014. And if we had the proposal in place, if you so desire, at the $125, we would be collecting approximately $3,555. One thing I do want to just stress again, when I have talked to our sister cities, that being the cities of Henderson and Las Vegas, they too are now looking at raising the political sign fees. They're taking a good look at the costs that they spend and what they bring in. And so they expect to follow us very shortly on this item. If you have any questions?
Yes, I'll ask the council. Council, do you have any questions? I might bring up a point, and I might bring something to you guys. The day of the candidate actually going out there with his own rebar and his own sign is almost done. This gets let out to everybody. I mean, it's just very, very important that candidate gets out there and gets going. And I do know that a lot of times the candidate doesn't know where these signs are. He's paid people to do that for him. My question to you is, after the election, what is the time frame that a candidate's committee has to get that?
They have 30 days from the date of the election is held, the general election, to remove those signs. But those said candidates that are in the primary, and should they lose in the primary and not go forward, they have 30 days to remove their signs. So their signs should be removed that much sooner.
Thank you. This is a lot of visual blight. There's people that have signs in our town that didn't even run in North Las Vegas. You know what I mean? But we have residents that work in Las Vegas, and we've had the Las Vegas candidates actually put their signs up here quite a bit of time. Is there some identity, a person that identifies that, whoa, that guy's running for not county commission, but city council? He needs to get a sign fee here. How does that really work, Tom, on your end?
Thank you. Typically, we'll receive a complaint by a phone call or actually see new campaign signs out, and we actually have a list that is generated in our city by them paying the $25 fee. If it's not on the list and we don't share that information, they don't have one. So we usually reach out, contact them, and ask them to pay the fee. But that's generally how we do it.
I don't think it's that numerous, but I've seen it happen. You mentioned I've seen these companies get lazy and just cut the sign off and leave the rebar standing. It almost looks like an impalement opportunity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what do you, Tom, there's no way to really understand who left that there or what?
You know, there's a point in time when, let's say the election's over and it's in a time frame where the sign remains, or even shortly after and it's still there, we're able to contact, we're given information when they apply for their fee or their permit. On that's their name and phone number and or their contact of their campaign manager, and that's who we contact, and we tell them exactly where it's at and if they would please remove it. It's often difficult to go back and we see rebar sticking up and it looks like, you know, water reeds all over, the signs are gone. But we always do ask them to remove it when they remove the sign. Unfortunately, a lot of them are volunteers. They don't have rebar pullers, and over time that rebar actually welds and locks into the soil itself, and they can't get it out. We actually have rebar pullers, and sometimes they even hook up the truck and just to get it out of the ground. So a lot of times the energy level it takes to get it out, they just give up.
Yeah, the people I hire are very scientific. They just aim for sprinklers and water lines.
That's right, that too.
So I don't know. I got to hire somebody else.
That too, yes.
We have any other questions from council? So now I do have one person that would like to get up and discuss this. Jeff Alpert.
Thank you. Jeff Alpert, 3828 Fusilier Drive, North Las Vegas. I wanted to propose a counter proposal, expand on their proposal. My suggestion would be a $100 fee rather than a $125 fee. The fee would be non-refundable. At the time the permit is requested and the committee or candidate comes in, they would understand it's a non-refundable fee, and in addition, they would be required to put forth a $300 additional, possibly refundable fee. And 30 days after the election, if the city goes out through code enforcement and notices to their satisfaction that that candidate's signs have been removed, then the candidate will be notified that they can come by, or a check will be mailed to their address that they submitted on their application, and their $300 would be refunded. If they still had signs up and they weren't a candidate that was going into the runoffs and legally allowed to maintain their sign over the 6-7 month period that transpires, those with signs still up would be notified that they have possibly 2 weeks to remove them, or they would face loss of their fee. If they do remove them within the 2 weeks, when the city goes out and checks again, then they could get back half their fee, since they were notified and it caused the city some distress in going out and checking on their signs a second time. They can get back half of that $300. If after a total of, let's say, 45 days from the election, their signs have not been removed and the city goes out and removes them, the full $300 deposit that was put down at the beginning when the permit was requested will be retained by the city. Through this proposal, the city would definitely have less signs to remove because the candidates and their political committees would be motivated to do a good job in keeping track of their signs and removing them. And sure enough, there will be signs remaining, and the city can profit from keeping 150 or a full 300 additional dollars. And since there would be less truck fees, disposal fees, labor fees, the city might actually come out ahead in the process. So hopefully my proposal would be considered. Thank you.
You know, I don't think it's refundable now, Jeff. The 125 it's already not refundable. I will say that it could get very onerous if we find out there's a problem, but with the Independent American, the Green Party, there's a lot of parties who don't really get a lot of campaign funds to help offset it, so it comes out of the campaign pocket, usually of that person. I do agree with what you're saying in the federal races and stuff like that. Those signs are left everywhere, and it could be an issue. I think that if we do this right now and monitor it, we've got an election coming up in the spring, you know, we'll watch what happens. Is that fair enough? And if we do continue to see it being that way. But do I have any questions on the council?
I'll make a comment, Mayor. I told that to Barbara yesterday, that exact thought, except I said $500.
Oh.
I said, let's make it a, you know, but it's really, then we'd have to pay somebody to drive every single street to check every single sign, so it would offset each other. But yeah, I mean, so Barbara and I had that conversation yesterday, but I agree with you. Go forward with what we got.
Do you think you want to go higher and we'll take care of the graffiti issue at the same time?
Oh, you know something? See, no, because that's a voluntary fee that someone's willing to pay. I'm okay with that kind of stuff, right?
Thank you very much. Council, any more comments or questions on this item?
Mr. Mayor, I want to say that as a person who personally took down all of his signs just a week after his election, and by the way, all those rebars are sitting there unattended. I took them as a donation to my future political campaigns, and I picked in each and every. All I had to do was pay a couple of dudes, you know, a little bit, and buy them lunch, and I got lots of rebar. And with that, and I wholeheartedly support this measure, and I move to approve.
Thank you. Please cast your vote.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Next item, item number 20, ordinance number 2692, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of North Las Vegas, Nevada, to prohibit the transportation of high-level nuclear waste within the city limits and providing for other matters properly related thereto for possible action.
Thank you. This is something I put on the agenda. I had a meeting with the mayors. We have a quarterly lunch. We get together. When I can't go, Mayor Pro Tem goes for me. But we're very interested in continuing to build these relationships. It was noted to me by the mayors that we did not have this in place, and I thought about it, and we thought about 3 months ago, but with your sign, you know, all those things we were working on, we decided you wanted to push it off till we got to a quieter time because we had medical marijuana and everything going, you know, and that's fine because nothing's happening now. But what I do know is, as a 14 years on the state high-level nuclear waste committee, that we would tour the nation at sites that were decommissioning, sites that were active. We went to Carlsbad, New Mexico. And one thing I learned about this, if you're not together as a region on this, you can be disqualified from opportunities. An example would be Carlsbad, New Mexico, in the salt mines there in the WIP pilot, isolation pilot program. The town of Carlsbad, from my recollection, wanted it there, fought very hard to get it there. Some areas around it didn't want it there. So when it came time to negotiate with those other local communities, they said, well, we're not giving you anything because you never put anything in place that said it was against your ordinances. They said, we'll build you a road. So they built a road out to the site. It was a heavy haul road, but they would have had to do that by law anyway. I don't really know what Washington's going to do. I had breakfast this morning with our new Congressman Hardy, and we discussed this. What we're trying to do here is just be a region. I don't know if the inevitable will ever be. We've had some strength in Washington at this point in time. But we do want to make sure that we just align with the regional discussion. If this stuff does come, we want to be at the table and say, well, we want to go down this road, not this road, or what the transportation objective would be of that industry. So as they come into our town, it might mean that we all go to a table, and if it ever got that way, and negotiate stuff for UNLV or whatever. But we want to be at the table. As it sits right now, this is not an issue, but we continue to produce the waste, and it's always going to be a subject of discussion. And I just thought that we needed to be at the table when those discussions take place. I can promise you this right now. What happens right now, the state is supposed to be notified when something dangerous comes through. And they don't notify us. They don't notify the governor. They basically have changed the designation from the transport of the dangerous stuff through to us, and they can now call it dignitary protection. They don't have to tell you things on dignitary protection, you know. So it's just our way of being in sync with the region. So if something happens, we get to at least sit at the table and discuss how it's going to affect our communities. This is by no way going to make Washington shudder. I can promise you that. We just need to be at the table. And I probably will not be mayor when this ever happens. I think this discussion will take place someday. Hopefully it'll bypass the city. It won't even be an issue, but at least we'll be at the table if that discussion has to take place. So with that, to align with the other city councils, I'd ask you to, I'd like to make a motion, but I'd like to any comments or questions on this item if you have any.
Well, I just add that I hear it's happening now all the time, and I think you're right. I don't think we're being notified. And as there are certain changes going on in Washington, one is never sure about Yucca Mountain, whether it's going to stay dead or if it's going to re-rise again. So I certainly think that the sentiment is the right one, and it certainly cannot hurt us to bind together as a valley and support something that we believe in and something that we're concerned about for the safety of our residents. So I support it.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else that'd like to comment on this?
Mr. Mayor, I would just like to ask if it's too late to maybe put a name to this. How about heck no, we won't glow?
You know, I think we'll just keep it the way it is, but I understand. I mean, the good Mayor Goodman made quite a statement to Washington when he mentioned that he would lay down an I-15, and we're not willing to do that. We're just willing to regionalize ourselves and be at the discussion, you know, when this time takes place, if it ever does.
I totally support you, and if the mayor would like to sit down there, I will definitely sell tickets.
Thank you. So are there any other comments or questions on this? I've made a motion. Please cast your vote.
Item number 21 under appointment. Appointment of an at-large member to the Veterans Community Commission.
Madam Clerk, could I pull this off the agenda? I had made some appointments with some people. There's some people that have been interested in this, and I haven't finished the interview process for that. And the governor's staff also has somebody that they would like me to interview.
Most certainly, Mayor.
I would ask that we move that for just 2 weeks. I know we can get through those.
Okay. We can table this until December the 3rd then. If I could have a vote on that, please.
Do I need to, is that my motion? Do I need to get acceptance on it? Is that my motion? Please cast your vote. City Manager's report. Madam City Manager, do you have anything you wish to report?
Mayor and Council, we have 3 items on the city manager's report, and I promise it will be very quick. The first item is on the Kyle Ranch improvements update by Deputy Public Works Director Jennifer Doody. She says 5 minutes.
Overhead. Just to give you an update on where we stand on Kyle Ranch, it's 7 acres of land that we own at the northeast corner of Cary and Commerce. It's actually on the National Register of Historic Places, so it's kind of a little jewel that we have in this downtown part of North Las Vegas. We are working on developing it in multiple phases. The first phase is actually the historic park rehab, which is down in the southwest corner. Then we move up to some improvements that we're doing at the spring. And then the final phase is up north at the overlook. The second handout that you have actually shows a picture of what it will look like when it's fully developed. To go into a little bit of detail on timing on each of these phases, phase 1, which is the historic park, which includes some security fencing around the adobe. It includes a history walk around it that has different interpretive nodes around the adobe. It has parking that comes off of Kyle that will be able to be gated at night. We are currently in 100% design on this and out to bid. We're hoping to actually start construction in January with finishing of construction in December of next year. At about the same time, we're going to be working on phase 2, which are some spring wetland habitat improvements. That includes some weed mitigation that has to be done, and then some planting of the spring that is out there to kind of give it its natural habitat back. The weed mitigation we're looking at starting in early 2015, with the spring improvements to begin in mid-2015, with the intention that this phase will wrap up about the same time as the improvements on the historic phase in phase 1 by the end of next year. Then we have phase 3, which is the boardwalk that we'll be constructing around the spring. We've divided it up into 2, phase 3A and B. A is currently funded through SNPLA around 14 and Park District funds. So we've kicked off, we've gotten authorization to proceed from BLM, so we've started the design on this portion of the project, and we're hoping to award our design contract early 2015 to do the boardwalk. The part B is to finish the boardwalk along the other side. That you just recently, not too long ago, saw a presentation by Johanna to try to get around 15 SNPLMA monies to be able to do that portion. The phase 4, the overlook, that will include a second restroom. It will include additional parking and ADA access from the overlook down to the spring. We currently don't have any funding for this at this time, but we will always, we're always looking for the money. There's kind of an auxiliary project that we're working on here too, is the adobe restoration. We have grant monies and $57,000 to help towards that. The project was supposed to include restoration of the porch, the windows, and the doors. That project was going to cost like $200,000, and we only got $57,000 in the grant. So we're going to do the lead mitigation that needs to be done on the painting, the paint that exists out there, and then try to stretch that $57,000 to get as much as we can for the rest of the improvements we're going to do at the adobe. That kind of wraps up the report on where things stand with Kyle Ranch and where we are proceeding with it, and the deadlines. If you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you very much. Councilman Goins, this is in your district. Do you think your grandchildren will ever see this finished? This is since your father was on the city council, I believe.
Have faith.
Grandchildren, not in the equation, not yet.
Anyway, I don't know if you had any questions or thoughts on this.
No, I'm actually extremely excited. So
Okay.
thank you for all the work you've done.
No problem.
And your staff.
No problem. We enjoy it. It's going to be a nice project once we get it all done.
If I may too, Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, and Johanna, you guys, and all of you who have been working on this project. I've gotten to actually go see the adobe structure since it's been stabilized, and it is amazing to see. It's also amazing to think of any family living in something that small, but it is preserving our history. I know a lot of the residents are behind this project, and you guys have worked so hard to get that grant money and to make this a real worthwhile project for our city. So thank you so much for your hard work. I think you guys are doing great. And
All good. Our
plug
pleasure.
along, and yes, by grandchildren, we will definitely see this done.
Little pot by little pot, we'll get it done.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Madam Clerk?
Actually, the city manager.
Or
Second item,
city manager? You're excused. I'm getting very tired.
the second item is really in response to the employee survey we recently conducted. One of the action items that identified is really to celebrate our success. So tonight we'll have a presentation from APWA. One of our projects won the Project of the Year for 2014. Bruce Bauman from Linear Mall will be here to present that. Mayor, you will get the plaque.
Thank you. Again, my name is Bruce Bowman. I'm here on behalf of the American Public Works Association, APWA. I'm the president of the Nevada chapter this year. But what I'd like to do is start out by just thanking you, the Public Works folks that are here, and also the council for supporting APWA over the years, and especially supporting the members of City North Las Vegas to attend our meetings that we have every month, where we have presentations and educational sessions, and also the conferences that we have every year with education and presentations also. The award this year is for an environmental project. What we have at our council, at our conferences every year, is a hard-fought battle. We have several different public works projects that are up for the winner, basically. In the environmental arena, the project that won in 2014 at our conference is Las Vegas Wash Middle Branch and Trail. This project, I'd like to acknowledge a few folks, especially the Public Works Department. Tom Brady was the design project manager. Mike Hudgens was the CM project manager. I'd also like to acknowledge some of the private firms that worked on this. The design firm was VTN Nevada, and the construction management firm was CM Works, and the contractor was Meadow Valley. So on behalf of APWA, I'd like to hand over this plaque for the wonderful project.
Jennifer, is that your responsibility? Mitch, could we get a picture of them together so we can put it on our website later? It doesn't have to be right up front here, but I do want a picture of that to document this. Dr. Liu, you should sneak up there. Would you mind? Wait for Dr. Liu to get up there too. This is. Once again, Jennifer.
Okay, the next item is an update by Library District Director Forrest.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Forrest Lewis, Library Director. I promise I'll be very brief. I just wanted to give you a quick update on some of the things going on at the library. First of all, the dealing with the new City Hall branch, we're up and running. The citizens are really responding well to our new location here in City Hall. They love the fact that we have the separate computer lab that they can work on, and we're really working to try to get some community partners to come in and help us teach some classes and really use that as a resource to help people find jobs, get career information, things like that. We really want to use that resource for our residents. We want to, we're excited to say that we have the gate put in now that separates our area from the rest of City Hall area. So we are now open Monday through Thursday from 10:30 to 8. And that is fantastic because a lot of the kids, when they get out of school, they've been coming to the library and having to really rush to get out before the time runs out when we've been getting out at 5:45. So that's very exciting for us. We're working to get our volunteers, partnerships going. We have a current volunteer right now who's coming in and helping us work one-on-one with the residents on the computer. And she speaks Spanish, so that is fantastic for us. We have another volunteer that's helping with our book sale. And at the Aliante Library, we have a really strong volunteer program going on, so we're very pleased with that. We're working on our library programming going forward. And our effort to use the libraries as an education center, not just for books or for children's programming, we're really working to boost our adult programs that we have going on. So I just wanted to give a real quick, we had a program in October, a cancer awareness program that was very well attended. We had a story, actually one of our librarians, our cataloger, her daughter passed away from cancer last year. a month after her mother passed away. So that was and she gave a story on that and gave a lot of information about cancer awareness. We have a smoking cessation class coming up. We have a Mammovan that's going to be coming to 2 of our libraries to help the residents on there. And for a lot, if it's low income, there's no cost for the Mammovan service. We have financial health classes for families with children coming up. Every year we have our AARP classes that help out with taxes, low income at the Aliante Library. And we have a program coming up in February called Taste of African Heritage. And that's where there's 10 people that come in the class. We actually have a registered dietitian, and they will be doing traditional African meals, working with the people and help with. There's a lot of diabetes, a lot of problems in the African American community, and that's what she'll be working on with that. So those are just some of those programs, and we'll see a lot more adult along with the juvenile programs that we have going on. I really wanted to mention we're so thankful to the mayor with his fundraising campaign. He's pledged to raise $100,000 for us. We are over $46,000 towards that goal, and we've got some really great things coming up. We will definitely be reaching that $100,000. And one of the things that we're looking into for that with the Friends of the Library, all that goes through our 501c3, is we're looking at the possibility of, I'm getting some price quotes of like some self-checkout machines at some of the libraries, some different security gates that use the RFID technology, the radio frequency that we have to have in our materials because of our contract with Las Vegas Clark County. We already have that ability, but we're not able to use that to make it easier for people to check out and to get through faster. The one thing I really wanted to talk about tonight is several months ago, the mayor had contacted me, A Small World. He had actually come across the mayor of Burbank, California on a trip to China. And one of the things that they talked about was they had set up, they had a mascot for their library. And they turned that into a really good community. They got the community came and named the mascot, created the mascot. They had a group that worked with them. And he had talked to me about the possibility of having a mascot, that same sort of thing, for the North Las Vegas Library District. So we looked into that. I thought it was a fantastic idea. I spoke with the library director in Burbank, California. She just went on and on about how great that was for their community, how they could rally around it. So I worked with Mitch Fox, and we were looking at ideas to come up for a mascot. And this is the mascot that we came up with. Craig Sheeler actually created this design from the mascot that we have. And that's the bookworm that we have on here. And it incorporates, you see it has the graduation cap on there, and it really symbolizes what we're going for with the library district. We have our traditional library services, books, obviously that's a big part of what we are, but the education is a huge portion of what we're pushing. So we have this symbolizes all of that, and we're really going to use this outreach for the community, and we're going to do some programs in December that are going to bring forth this mascot. And we have a winter reading program that we're going to have. It's called Bookworm Bingo. I'm just going to show you on here. This is what we have. So it really has a lot of different activities that the kids can come in, and when they get bingo, they get a prize, and they get entered in to win a $50 movie theater gift certificate that we have. And when they complete the full blackout of the bingo, then they also get an additional entry for the grand prize. We also are going to have a mascot naming contest. We have a mascot, but we don't have a name. So we're going to have a contest that's going to run in conjunction with the reading program. It'll actually end a week before the end of the reading program. And the winner, the winning entry that names the mascot is going to get a $100 Walmart gift certificate that we're going to give out. And hopefully they use that to buy an e-reader that they can check out books from the library. So we're very excited about this. And one last thing I wanted to mention is, and this is through the Friends of the Library, is we're also getting brand new library cards. These are going to have a keychain portion on it that our residents have been asking for a very, very long time. And this will incorporate the mascot and the library logo into the library card. So we're very excited about that. And we have a special guest that's going to be here tonight.
Oh.
And this is our good friend, the mascot, who is looking for a name, and he will have one by the end of December. Thank you very much.
That's a very handsome mascot.
Absolutely.
Very handsome.
Hey, Forrest, when you get to the point that you're working with a nonprofit on some of that job searches, come see me and let me know, and I'll see if I can get some Workforce Connection dollars maybe to that nonprofit and see if we can boost up your efforts there.
That is fantastic. I really appreciate that, Mayor Pro Tem.
Not a problem. And Mayor, thank you so much. You did not get applause, but I think $46,000 from the mayor deserves applause.
Well, Council, when people tell you they love North Las Vegas, they'd like to help businesses do business here, encourage them to contribute. If you wouldn't mind, that would surely help. I don't need all the
Oh, give 1 second. We'll get him to turn around.
effort.
Forrest, we need the bookworm to turn around when you have a second.
Forrest, he actually looks like you're his dad. You got a green suit on, a green tie, and
Please don't tell my wife.
well, thank you so much. Forrest, you're doing amazing things for our community. We appreciate you for that. Next is council items. Council, any members have anything they'd like to discuss? Councilman Barone?
Yeah, number one, if anyone noticed the artwork that's sitting in there in the, I don't know what the glass case thing is called, but I'm sure it has an official name. It's some of the artwork from some of the students at Rancho High School. I'm very proud to say that we have the next 6 months for arts and cultural activities. In January, starting January 16th, a winter arts exposition. In February, with the help of Councilman Goins Brown and a couple of people from our community, we're going to have the very first African American art exhibit in honor of Black History Month, and we have things all the way through the rest of the all the way up to June. And I just urge members and attendants, it is not too late to be considered for a position in the arts, and at least I think it's not too late to be considered for the arts. And did you throw that, Mayor? Through that. Sorry, that's actually pretty funny. It wouldn't have been so funny if it would have hit you. Then it would have just been hilarious. No, I'm saying it's all fun and games until someone gets hurt. Then it's never mind. If you'd like to be part of the Arts and Cultural Board, it is not too late to go to the 8th floor and fill out a willingness to serve form. Please, we still need a few more people. Thank you very much.
Councilwoman?
I have, I'll be very quick, but I've got a couple of things. And I don't know if we did this at the last meeting or not, but it certainly deserves recognition. Mayor, and this is really your field, but we had 3 employees that walked away with top honors. And I want to make sure, I will let you
No, I
handle
want
it.
you to do it. You do it.
Mayor Lee and I had an opportunity to go see 3 of our employees receive awards, and we took the top honors, and all 3 top honors. So, I mean, we walked away with the big bonanza, basically, and I don't know if that's ever been done before, but North Las Vegas was very honored. We had Greg Blackburn as Emerging Public Administrator of the Year. Chief Jeff Lytle with the Lifetime Achievement Award. And Dr. Chong Liu as, I believe, Public Administrator of the Year? Public Administrator of the Year.
You know, Councilwoman, it was very exciting to see that happen. We were at the table high-fiving and knuckling, and then I had to speak.
And you did great.
It's
You did
very
great.
hard to go up and act humble when you're so proud. But I think we did a good job. We recognized them for the years and years of service they did. But honestly, I got a phone call that says, John, no one has ever swept these awards before. We went over them 2 or 3 times, but we just couldn't help give them to your people who wrote their bios or who wrote their stuff. And I said, man, this is just what their life is, you know. So Dr. Liu, Greg, Chief, you guys are the best in the valley.
The mayor did a very good job filling in for you, Dr. Liu. He really did.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for all. And what that shows people in this city and state, that we have world-class people working here. That was a heavy competition. You guys were the best of the best. And I expect that we'll have more winners within our organization, you know. So we're excited to have you on board. Thank you so much. One more time, guys.
Yep.
I see no other.
I'm done.
I'm sorry.
not done.
Okay.
I'm going to hog the microphone for just a couple minutes. I also want to commend Chief Lytle. Last Thursday, he and his department and in partnership with many organizations out in the valley did a mock well, actually, it was a mock bombing of the North Las Vegas City Hall for our rapid emergency response. They did an excellent job. I want to thank staff for participating. Mayor, I stood in your stead, and I spent lots and lots of money. I'm sorry. I had to declare a state of emergency, and we had to ask the governor to declare a state of emergency. We had to implement a curfew. We had to raise the now, Darren, don't listen. We had to raise the amount on a couple of the P cards so that people could spend the money that they needed to in the handle this disaster. On your behalf, I got to enjoy spending lots of money. So that was my part of the participation in the drill. But no, seriously, the city did a great job. I think it was a tremendous effort. It was literally from 9 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon of everyone just pitching in and running this as if it was really true to life, and really taking it seriously, pitching in and working really, really hard. So, Chief, you and your department did a great job.
Thank you. You know, actually, I expected that was your second state of emergency. I remember the day I got elected, and that sent off a bellwether too. No, it's great to be here. I do have one interesting thing I'd like to offer. We went through a very, very exhaustive search to find somebody that we felt could represent the city of North Las Vegas in our economic and redevelopment areas. And we went through a lot of applications, and I think that after the round of interviews that the person that was chosen, would you please come up here, Ms. Gavin? Gina Gavin was chosen to lead our city into the next growth phase of our community, and we are so excited to have her. She comes with a lot of experience, a lot of energy, a lot of vision, and she's a great director of people. She is a return and report lady. She has assignments, and she also works and reports back to the group what she's doing. Would you mind addressing us for a minute?
I just turned it off. Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm very excited to be part of your team and part of your vision, and there's a lot of exciting opportunities.
Great. Well, did you have anything you wanted to say? Like what we can,
Does that-
what we can expect next year? I want something on the record. What do your team and you, what do you hope for next year? I mean, you
Sure.
see some good things.
Well, you know, some of the sort of 4 principles that we're going to take into account in our strategic plan, you know, it's retention, expansion, it's cultivation, and creation. So aligning our vision with your vision and how we can create greater impact for our city.
Great. We'll be looking for great information to go to the city council on the things that you're doing. We appreciate you taking the opportunity to come and share your talents with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well,
Can I have one more thing,
yes,
and
ma'am.
then I'll finish up? What I also wanted to do was talk about our legislative platform. And there's 2 issues that I would like, not so much for us to submit any kind of bill drafts on, but to put down as priorities for the upcoming legislative session. One of them is we've been very involved, obviously, in the medical marijuana issue, but I really think that we need to be very, very aggressive in being involved in the packaging and advertising of the edible products, and making sure that we learn from the past mistakes that other states have made. And right now the state has not really dealt with this issue very much, but I think we really do need to put pressure on the state to take a stand. It's great that we can handle it to some extent locally, but there is the issue of, even if we are very strong and take a strong stand in North Las Vegas, what do we do if somebody crosses our border from Las Vegas or Henderson or Boulder City or somewhere else where they may not have taken as strong a stand? So I'd really like to protect our children as best we can, and make sure that we come up with some pretty strong legislative agenda for that. And the other is also, we've had quite a bit of problem with squatting. And a lot of this is coming from the banks not moving very quickly in order to take over the foreclosures. They're kind of leaving the foreclosure sitting there. Therefore, it's really not clear who owns the property because they haven't completed that, and making it very, very difficult for code enforcement to know whether people really belong in these houses and not. And for our PD and for utilities as well. So I'd really like us to see if we can get some movement on the state to make sure that these banks start taking over these homes as soon as they should be.
I can respond to that. The bill drafts for this next legislative year have been sent in already. There was a deadline date. But that said, there's going to be
I don't mean
amendments to bill drafts, and the new legislators who were just elected have their group of bill drafts, and most of them will not have an idea of what they want to do. So if
There
we
you go.
gather in our friends, our elected officials, I think we should.
Well, I figured working with the league this year coming up, and then just knowing some of the things that we want to take and speak on, and if we can work with, as you said, some of the new legislators, or as these issues just come up at the state legislature, make sure we're there to take a stand and have some input. I would appreciate the support.
Yeah, it is my goal to see that this next legislative session becomes a local government session where all these issues that I actually voted on before I can unvote on now, and help out local governments a little bit more. So we will work very closely. We will be very effective at the next legislative session, and I'm expecting some participation from our council to be there too.
Absolutely. And I would encourage all of the council that can make it. We do have, through the Nevada League of Cities, a local government summit coming up in December. I'll get the information to all of you. But the stronger showing, obviously, that we make, the stronger presence we have, the stronger our message is. And so I would encourage everyone who can be there to please try and make it.
And you being the state leader, we're expecting that to really move forward in this next session. I know with your leadership it'll happen. I now will close the council items and move on to the second public forum. I have 3 people who'd like to speak. You have 3 minutes if you'd like to continue. Or if you'd like to come up here right now, this would be the time. Mona Lisa, if you'd like to come up first. Following her, Gary Bouchard and a Miss Janet Revere. Mona Lisa?
Good evening. For the record, my name is Mona Lisa Samuelson. Once again, I'll try to keep this short. I know you've been up since 2:30 this morning, and thank you so much, Mayor Lee. Okay, so I just wanted to thank you once again. As far as the medical marijuana goes, I think that you stand in the unique position that your community supports you in whatever decision you make, knowing that we've come this far and there may not be much public discussion from here on out when you make your approvals, but your community supports you. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you. Once again, I can't say it enough, Mr. Blackburn. Okay, also, I wanted to thank you for, once again, throwing such a great city council. You always do. Thank you so much. It's so much fun to come out here and learn about these issues. I had no idea that the radioactive waste situation was something that needed to be put on record. Thank you for taking care of that here and now. And once again, all the other things I could go through, but really I just want you to get some sleep. I want you to take care of yourself. Okay, so good night. Thank you. I'll see you all again next time.
Thank you for your kindness. Mr. Bouchard.
Thank you. As you know, I've been working on a documentary film and a book about the history of North Las Vegas, and I've been putting in some bad hours too. I know you had a rough day, but believe me, the more research I do, the more questions I have, and the more problems I see that we have to deal with in the city. But next week is Thanksgiving. It's the official start of the holiday season, the happiest time of the year. It's also a time of year for a lot of people to see how really messed up their lives are. And in the last 12 months, a lot of people have lost their jobs, despite the fact we keep hearing about the economy's getting better, everything's fine. These people are still losing their jobs, they're still losing their homes. I went to the Catholic Church right down the street from me today, and Wednesdays they give away food. And I went there just to see what type of a turnout they were having. And I thought it would be people dressed in poor clothing, just because, you know, poverty has a definite look. To my surprise, everybody there was dressed better than me. And as you know, I'm known to be a snazzy dresser. And I talked to some of these people. These are lower middle class people who are working jobs. They still can't afford to buy food. I blame it on the minimum wage. And I don't know why we can't do something to get the minimum wage back up to where it used to be. Because if you adjust for inflation, the minimum wage was actually higher in 1962 than it is right now. If you adjusted the minimum wage for inflation, it'd be $16.50 an hour. I have 1 minute to go. I was down at City Hall, and I asked if there was any place I could put these little posters, and they said no. So, because I was told because they have political overtones. So I called my attorney, and he said, no, you have the right to display these. What he did bring to my attention is that, you know, I mean, for a month and a half, we had that Day of the Dead presentation down there, which is has religious overtones, and which is unconstitutional. But I don't have a problem with that. You know, I mean, I'm not a nitpicker, but I don't understand if we can do a Day of the Dead thing, which is a religious thing that the Catholic Church does. You know, why can't we have something to remind people that we have to get the minimum wage up to a livable wage? So that's my question.
Well, it is a state question and a federal question for sure. That's where the jurisdictional boundaries lie. I know nothing about I don't even know where I have anywhere to put anything on this building. But my point is, we probably do have some kind of reasonableness to be careful what we put on walls. I haven't seen your stuff, so I can't.
Well,
when I was on the RTC board,
got
when I'm on
one
those
right
boards-
here.
Yeah. So
here's where.
But leave it here. Leave it here, Gary. I'll look at it.
Oh, okay.
Fair enough.
Okay, sure, you betcha.
All right. Thank you. And I'll,
Okay,
I'll
and
find out.
thank you for your time. And just want to say, Mayor, I think you're doing a great job. I've talked to a lot of people. They agree with me. I know you had a rough day today, so
Yeah. And
have
I'm
a nice
sorry I
Thanksgiving.
kind of got a little short with you.
Everybody have a nice Thanksgiving.
Ms. Revere?
Mayor, actually, I need to address one thing. Day of the Dead is not actually a religious thing. It's actually a pre-Columbian thing. It was celebrated. It's a thing that goes back well before there were ever any Christians in North America. Just to make it, it's definitely the religious thing that it has. It's definitely pre-Columbian, and it's more of a cultural thing more than anything else.
Well, I'll let you guys.
Yeah.
We'll
talk about it some other time.
Yeah, I appreciate you. This meeting's adjourned. I gotta figure out these blue cards, these 3 minutes for these people.
What's the man with the blue cards?
By the way, you guys need to know something. Now that we're on TV, we get a chance to educate our community. So these presentations and stuff are going to be very important to me. You know?
I think please fill out a blue card. We either need to take out you must fill out a blue card, then we shouldn't ask is there anybody that's willing to speak, right? So it's either if you fills out a blue card you can speak, if you haven't, you don't. So
How do you shut someone down without looking horribly rude, though? You know, it's like.
Well, part of the problem is they changed the rule too, because before, the way it read is, you would pick your item that you wanted to talk in. So not everybody was trying to talk in the public forum.
Right.
Now all of a sudden, the way the law changed, we make it sound like you should try and come in the talk in